Mr. Laukkanen, an all-star named this year. Both actually are all-stars, and we'll talk a bit about that game coming up in Welland. Should be an exciting weekend, and really interesting coming out of that one, Justin, is that Majors only ended up with 5 hits, one of which was a walk-off from Eduardo De Olio, and on the flip side, Brantford had 11 in that contest.
Well, and it was just a stressful game across the board, really neck and neck between these two teams, and not a whole lot of action from the Majors side. They got what I would say not lucky, but they were able to string in a few hits going consistently, but it really came down to the bottom of the 9th in that one, and a clutch hit bloop single from Eduardo De Olio, today's catcher, really drove home that win for the team.
Leading things off for the Brantford Red Sox, number 15, Marcus Castillo, a fairly new addition to the roster as Travis Keys gets started.
Incredibly excited. And it's not very often we get Saturday games here at the ballpark either, so it's a fun day.
First pitch high and inside for ball 1 against Marcus Castillo. As you mentioned, a nice Saturday game. London in Hamilton tomorrow for the 3rd game in 3 days, and they defeated Guelph last night. This one fouled high and up. De Olio is going to make the chase. Potential first early out. It will be for the Majors on a pop fly behind the plate. And Eduardo De Olio sits down Marcus Castillo.
He was squeezed right up against the fence on that one, right up close. Almost thought it was going to end up hitting the rafters up here. But Majors will take the out however they can get it.
So 2 pitches and the first out already recorded for Travis Keys. Keys being one of the most prolific pitchers, left-handers especially, across all the IBL. He's 5th in strikeouts with 49 and tied for 3rd in wins across all the IBL. He's got 4 wins to his name. This offering, another ball high and inside against Gus Wilson. Gus Wilson playing shortstop today.
Well, one thing I love about Keys, for those at home might not know as much of the kind of personalities of some of these players, but Keys is one of the most humble guys that I've had the pleasure of talking to on this team. Every single start, every time he's out there, always looking for the team, looking for the win. Isn't incredibly concerned about his own personal numbers too much either.
Here comes the 1-1 from Keys. That ball again high, not too much pace on it, going for more location. In it for ball 2, count at 2-1. Gus Wilson played college ball in Chickasha, Oklahoma, and a native of Duncan, British Columbia. This ball again inside, now moves the count to 3-1. Way ahead in the count here, Gus Wilson. Good first at bat for him. Keys having trouble finding the strike zone early on, Justin.
Well, and he's just hoping to sink into it. Might just be a little bit of trying to get the ball rolling right off the bat.
Keys finds the strike zone this time. Gus Wilson thought he had an easy walk to first, but it's just going to catch down perfectly for Keys. Moves the count to full, looking for the second out. He's sitting on 6 pitches.
Really thought they had it on that one, making the way over towards first, having to come right back. And usually you don't see that too often right at the start of the game.
This one inside has to be fouled off in the end by Gus Wilson. He'll live to fight another day, and Keys needs to deliver more.
Keys at least fighting it back to get it back to a full count after going 3-0, almost giving up a walk. Just 1 pitch away from getting a strikeout here. So we'll see how this last pitch ends up going.
The full count again to Wilson. Similar position, high up. Cardoso making a long run. De Olio also makes the run. Caden Cardoso there in the end. And it's 2 fouls behind home plate that earned the Majors 2 early outs in this one. The Red Sox, nothing offensively so far.
Well, good communication between those two. It's always those plays that I get a little bit nervous of when you see 2 players running in, looking right up in the sky. So it's all about talking to each other, making sure you don't run into each other, and still hoping to get the out during that case as well.
They did in the end. A nice run by Cardoso, but also De Olio was there to cover. At number 50, Cam Gurney, playing right field today, steps in for the first time. Gurney fouls the first one off down that third base line. Went to high school in Brantford, Ontario, but plays his college ball for the University of Utah, the Utes in Salt Lake City. Travis Keys, nice ball, went across the plate and forced the swing from Ken Gurney. So he's down 0-2 quickly.
And he's right back in it, going from pretty much a 3-0 count the previous at-bats, getting the out on the fly out and then getting it to an 0-2 count here. He's locked in. Just took him a little bit to get those pitches going.
Keys, one of the best pitchers in the IBL, showing us why now. Trying to retire the side in order. Slider a bit too far. Be the first ball of this at bat for Cam Gurney. Count at 1-2. The toss inside, chopped off, and watch out. That was a laser on a rope down by the Majors dugout. Reached the fans there. The early bit of the stanchions, and a souvenir nonetheless.
Yeah, everyone looks all right over there, but it can be really tough with how quick these balls can end up getting launched right into the fans there. It's a souvenir, but sometimes it's a bit of work to leave with that souvenir as well.
It's a good pitch by Travis Keys. It forced a tough swing. Another one chopped off hard and behind. Keeping himself alive here, Cam Gurney. We will get to the Majors lineup shortly. A lot of changes in this one across the board when they step up offensively. That will announce you tonight. Fair few injuries that the team's had to deal with. And that's just the nature of baseball in the dog days of July and August. Keys, this one inside. It'll be chopped directly to Caden Cardoso. 3 up, 3 down for the London Majors. And a good defensive first outing for Travis Keys.
Well, they're all routine plays, all ones that they practice each and every single week. Those flyouts right over to the foul end, and then grounder over to first for Cardoso. It's exactly what you end up practicing, exactly what the routines are based on, and they were able to get the outs, so all paid off.
Now this is an important stretch for the London Majors, obviously coming off 3 back-to-back losses before the win last night against Guelph. They have a good opportunity to potentially win their next 3, Justin. They have obviously a likely chance to win today against a back play to the team in the Brantford Red Sox. Then tomorrow they play in Hamilton, who are exactly 500 at 11-11. So strong opportunity to win 3 in a row after recently losing 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think it extends further than that as well. I think 6 of their next 7 games are actually with teams that are under 500. So if they're hoping to try and gain some ground on where Welland is, these are the games that they need to pull through and get these W's for.
Now let's take a look tonight offensively, how the London Majors are gearing things up, led off by, obviously, number 27, Gibson Kresminski, followed by Ty Mosher, Caden Cardoso, Eduardo De Olio, Byron Reichstein, Cleveland Brownlee, Victor Plaz, Brad Verhoeven, Champ Gardner, and, of course, Travis Keys on the mound. Quite a few new names, including Brad Verhoeven's actually starting in left field today. Cleveland Brownlee back in the lineup. He's DHing. And, obviously, Ty Mosher, not usually the candidate to start at shortstop, but a fair few changes in the Majors lineup.
Well, and a lot of that, kind of like you mentioned a bit earlier, comes down to some of the injuries. Starling Joseph was out in center field yesterday, made a great diving play, spectacular kind of highlight grab, and ended up having to leave the game immediately after. So that's just something that comes with baseball. And then naturally, other players like Drew Lawrence have been dealing with lingering issues throughout the whole season, not catching a whole ton of luck. So, but luckily, this Majors roster, there are so many pieces, so many that they can choose from. I think even just for the middle infield positions, they have 6 players that they can pick from between those 2 positions. So it's a very deep team across the board, and that lets them kind of have some recovery if they need some players to set out a few games.
Now, obviously, you were in attendance last night and working the game. It was the Pride in the Park night. Can you describe that atmosphere around Labatt Memorial Park?
Oh, it's always fun. Pride in the Park is always one of the best events. The Majors marked it with some special hats that they wear.
Yep.
That they wore. Everyone was in great spirits. You saw some of the Pride, the rainbow colors all across the ballpark from the fans as well. So it's always great to get some of that fan interaction on top of having Rock the Park on in the background, kind of shaking the stadium up the whole time as well.
So the Hamilton Cardinals are in Chatham-Kent, taking on the Barnstormers, the Baycats, and Welland to take on the Jackfish. And then the Maple Leafs are also taking on the Guelph Royals at Hastings Stadium. 3 other games going on tonight around the Intercounty Baseball League on this beautiful Saturday. Been fairly hot all day long. Kind of boiling when we didn't have the cool down and the sun started to go down. Not too much of a breeze. Seen some fans being used even inside the Game Day London broadcast booth.
One of those times where I'm kind of okay that I'm up in the booth today because if not, it means I would have been running up and down a bunch of stairs. So I'll take it in here today.
We get our first look at Gregor Farquharson on the mound for the Red Sox, and Gibson Kresminski, who is playing second today for the Majors, steps in.
Well, and Gibby had a spectacular performance yesterday. It's always tough for us to pick our player of the game at the end of the matchup, but it was really between Farrington, who was incredibly deserving of it yesterday, and Gibson Krasminski yesterday. Absolute show. 3 for 4, multiple RBIs in the matchup. And it's just something that he's been really carrying forward for the past little while, too. So he's happy to see the success, and the team's happy to see the success as well.
Big fastball upstairs from Farquharson. Drew the swing from Krasminski. He's down 1-2. As you mentioned, Krasminski 3 for 4 last night with 4 RBIs. What a great performance, accounting for 2/3 of the Majors' runs, but he strikes out immediately in this one. And a good first at-bat for Gregor Farquharson.
Well, all things considered, the last time he was with the Majors was back in 2022. And on this season in particular, he's got his average up over 300. And combined in 2022, he was batting about 260. So to see that improvement over a couple-year span is great to see. I'm sure he's happy with it. And I'm sure co-owner and GM Ro Chanderdat is also happy to see that success here in 2024.
So when steps Ty Mosher now. Second today in the Majors lineup. Fastball inside. And perfectly painted that corner. Count moves to 0-1. Ty Mosher, he's been very much a utility player this year for the Majors, but has done a great job in positions where he's had to come in and play the understudy. This ball chopped and fouled, 0-2.
Well, and a great guy, a great local guy as well. I had the opportunity to talk to him not too terribly long ago, and he's one of the few players on the roster who get to play in front of some family every so often. So he's having a great time, and he's been incredible filling in over at shortstop lately, making some great plays, and pretty consistent at the plate as well, too.
Mosher is going to smoke one out to center field. Unfortunately, directly into the glove of Ethan Paulos, and just like that, 2 Majors are down in the first.
That one's tough. He really squared it up, got some good contact on it, but yeah, hit it right to the center fielder. He's gotten a bit unlucky in that a few times. Champ Garner comes to mind on that same kind of line as well. We had some solid contact in yesterday's showing,
yes,
and not much to show for it. Just tough placement on where the ball ends up going.
Third today in the Majors lineup is the all-star DHer for the South team, Caden Cardoso. All-star team was named just a couple days ago. A bunch of Majors who we are going to mention throughout this broadcast have made the lineup, including 3 starters on the South team. Caden Cardoso, obviously one of the most prolific hitters all across the Inter-County Baseball League, and fortunately ended that 20-game hit streak a couple nights ago. But how incredible of a fantastic accomplishment is that for the man?
Oh, just incredible. And one of the little nicknames that we've kind of got for him right now is Mr. Consistent for the Majors right now. He really puts out every single game, able to get those hits in there, able to really force those at-bats as well. So good plate discipline. And at the end of the day, a great guy as well. Very similar to Keys. Anytime I talk to him about his stats, even during that 20-game hit streak run, he went on to mention, hey, I'm not thinking of me. I'm just trying to get the team some wins. So great mindset.
For a total this year, Cardoso's batting .361. The first strike of this at-bat was called. You talked about Cardoso's discipline. He had a 3-0 lead ahead in the count. Farquharson trying to fight back. Cardoso looking to be the first player on either teams to reach base today. A good ball, broke nicely right up top, painting that inside corner against Cardoso. Count moves to full. I
think that was a good pitch. I think he knew exactly that one was a strike, just not the one that he was looking for. And sometimes when you start with a 3-1 count, you're willing to wait for those pitches to come to you.
So Caden Cardoso ends up walking, the first player to reach base today. He sits comfortably on first as Eduardo DeOlio steps back in for the Majors. What a fantastic player, Eduardo DeOlio. As we mentioned, had the walk-off hit last time these two teams faced. The 5th total hit in the game for the Majors, which is relatively low for such a strong team offensively.
Oh, and I love Eddie, and the fans love Eddie too. You'll always hear the Eddie chants every single game, every single time he's up. Lots of fun, and really prides himself on his defense.
DeOlio got a good hold of this one's going to blast it back into left center field, but again reaches the glove of Ethan Paulos. And just like that, one scoreless inning for both sides. We're drawing blanks here between the Red Sox and the Majors. You're watching Majors TV with Ty and Justin.
The best of the Intercounty Baseball League descend on the Rose City on July 20th as the 2023 Dominico Cup champion Welland Jackfish and Welland Stadium host the 2024 Intercounty Baseball League All-Star Showdown and Home Run Derby. For ticket information, visit wellandjackfish.com/all-star or call 905-735-9834. Welland Jackfish Baseball. Fans first, fun always. Get hooked.
Welcome back, folks, inside Labatt Memorial Park. Ty White alongside Justin Koehler. And, folks, it's time for our weekly sports update here inside the broadcast booth. In Major League Baseball, every team in action tonight. Local teams, the Detroit Tigers took on the Dodgers and won 11-9 in the 10th inning. The Blue Jays are in Arizona tonight to take on the Diamondbacks around 10. News in soccer, the UEFA Euros, the final tomorrow between England and Spain. Ollie Watkins in the 90th minute, dramatic winner for England over the Netherlands. Obviously, Spain beat France 2-1. Lamine Yamal turned 17 today, the prolific winger. That should be an amazing final at the Olympiastadion in Berlin. Tonight in the Copa America, Canada's third-place game versus Uruguay starts at 8 p.m. in the Bank of America Stadium from Charlotte, North Carolina. Tomorrow's the final between Argentina and Colombia at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Finally, rounding things out with Wimbledon tennis, the men's final tomorrow at 9 a.m. between Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz, another Spaniard, taking on the Serbian. And the women's final was today, where Barbara Krejcikova of the Czech Republic beat Jasmine Paolini of Italy 2-1.
Lots of sports going on. Great time for it. Always interested in an incredible showing from Canada in the Copa America. I absolutely love to see it, and hoping that they get the win tonight.
As we were pointing out from our producer today, Nick McVicker, a fairly different lineup for Canada than they saw against Argentina in the semifinals. So we'll see how things shake up there. Back here in the ballpark, though, Nick Burdett up to bat, taking on Travis Keys. We're in the heart of the order. He's batting cleanup today. Count at 0-2 in favor of Keys.
Well, and Burdett right now is batting .240 on the season so far. In 75 at-bats, he has 13 runs off 18 hits and 3 doubles. So good mix of power. Definitely one of their power bats on the team. So they're hoping to get something for him, especially in the leadoff spot heading into this inning.
Back-to-back-to-back balls so far from Travis Keys. Count at 3-0. Last one was a slider way outside, trying to get it more under control. Now it will paint that corner. In for 3-1. So not quite a walk yet. Still looking to get on base for the first time tonight, the Red Sox.
And Keys is really fighting today. He's been having to really trying to extend some of these pitches right now and not getting a lot in his favor, and he's just having a tough time getting that location a little bit to get the game going. We've seen some bright spots already, including the strikeout so far, but it's just been a bit inconsistent to get the game going right now for him.
This one is fouled off. It'll have to be a long one for Victor Plaz. His glove was there, couldn't quite catch it in the end. Created an awkward run there for 3 different fielders, including Victor Plaz, Ty Mosher, and Brad Verhoeven also made the run out from left field.
Well, Noah and Dylan mentioned it in yesterday's broadcast, but it is a very long hustle to get to those balls. It's very deceiving kind of watching it either through the broadcast or here at the ballpark, just how big these diamonds are and just how much these infielders and these outfielders have to book it to try and get some of these foul balls.
Justin, I also can't help but think you have to take the humidity into account here because it is boiling today. I can feel it up here in the broadcast booth just sitting, and I can only imagine it's having an effect on the players down on the field, especially as the game progresses.
Exactly. What might feel like a regular 9-inning game with this humidity, this heat, might feel like an 11, 12-inning game on just the toll that it's having mentally and on your body physically as well. So it's tough, and it's definitely impressive, the athleticism on these players for both rosters.
The full count, Travis Keys to Burdett. This one outside. Good eyes from Nick Burdett. He reaches base for the first time for the Red Sox. Sitting on first, no outs at the top of the second.
Well, you can see his thought process throughout that entire at-bat, pitching down and away to Burdett the entire time, trying to either get him to ground something over to the third base line, trying to get him to whiff on a pitch that goes a bit outside, but just wasn't able to collect on it in that at-bat.
Comes the great player from 2023, Jeremy Villiers, catching today for the Red Sox. Native of Oakville, Ontario, and attended McMaster University. Played college ball there. Travis Keys delivers this one high for ball 1.
Well, this is definitely one of their RBI guys on the team, one of the better ones at driving people in. He's second on the team right now with 13 RBIs. And with one on, he's hoping to advance Burdett at least a little bit here.
This one, chance for a double play. Turned over to Kresminski. Can they get it? Cardoso couldn't quite reach it down in the end. Throw was well high from Gibson Kresminski. Couldn't get it down in time, but they will record the out at second. So Nick Burdett is out, but Villiers reaches safely at first.
An incredibly close play. It definitely was quite high, to say the least, for a jump for Cardoso, but to get the ball and to still try and do the swing down to get the batter running on the base paths is something that they train for and is a tough play to get done as well. The fact that it was that close shows a lot of just Cardoso's defensive abilities as well.
Villiers just popped that one directly on the ground in the direction of Ty Mosher. It was an easy flip to him to Gibson Kresminski. The throw was just too high for Cardoso in the end. Number 47, Stephen Whalen, playing third today, checks in for the first time.
Well, if you're Keys, you essentially want the same exact thing to happen. You want to try and induce a ground ball, get that double play, make this a nice quick inning here. And you can see that's almost what he's trying to go for with a lot of pitches down in the zone right now. This is where any pitcher would start dropping in a changeup down, a curveball down, some sliders down and away to try and get some sort of a ground ball here. Just to get the defense moving a little bit. It shows how much just trust he has in his team behind him on the plate.
Majors only have one out. Stephen Whalen tries to pop this one behind Victor Plaz. Another awkward play for Plaz, gets by him. And just like that, 2 men are on for the Red Sox with only one out. That ball carrying awkwardly for Plaz and lands in the end for Stephen Whalen, the relatively new player on this Red Sox team. Only 11, now 12 at-bats, batting .364.
Well, that one really just looked like a bit of an awkward play and a bit of a misread, to be honest, as well. You could kind of see him shuffle his feet on the infield, expecting it to go a little bit shorter, but the ball carried a bit further than he was anticipating, ended up driving him back. Still got glove on it, but not enough to actually come through with the catch there. So just a slight misread there.
He definitely looked like he was judging it at first when it started to come in his direction. Couldn't quite get the positioning on it in the end. The Red Sox have 2 on, a team that is desperately been waiting for an offensive explosion. Could be due for one tonight. Obviously, any team that drops 4 in a row, you just are counting the days until they eventually win one.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the kind of silver linings, things that you're looking for, the positives. At some point, it has to turn around. The Majors are just hoping that it's not tonight.
Definitely. Kieran Bowles batting .259 and on the year. Takes a hack at that one. Count at 0-2 now.
Great pitch right by him. Bowles, I think, was sitting for something off speed or a breaking pitch right there. Wasn't expecting to come in quite as quick. And Keys and Giolio, great read right there. Great pitch selection between the two to try and get that whiff.
Bowles has a big opportunity with 2 men on base. He'll take a hack at this one, keeps himself alive.
That's a good hack. Once you get into an 0-2 count, defense is exactly what you're playing. You want to try and play like that. That plate is one of your family members. You do not want that ball to get through whatsoever.
Yeah.
And good to just get a hack on it, get some contact on it.
Bowles, a native of Nanaimo, British Columbia, smokes that one foul. A few fans making the chase for that one. Actually made it onto the road, I think, carrying right past the Fanshawe signs.
One of those times where the Majors like kind of giving some jump scares to people at the ballpark and not at the ballpark. In some instances, even people who are waiting to get a hot dog end up seeing a little fly ball headed up in their direction. So
you always got to keep your head up.
Exactly.
This ball, fastball upstairs. Well high, though, for the count now at 1-2. Still only 1 out for the Majors. Their work cut out for them.
Fastball upstairs. I wouldn't be shocked if he went back down on the zone, try and get something underneath him, some sort of a breaking ball to get him to whiff.
All right, looking for back down. It did look like to have a bit of break on it. Not in favor from the umpire today. Steve Cochran is the home plate umpire.
It's one of my all-time favorite pitches here in baseball. Is a little curveball up in the zone. One of those ones that you try and just get to drop in slightly. Absolute favorite. I always have a little ooh moment anytime I see a pitch like that.
Here comes the ball from Travis Keys. This one will make it past second base, inner center field, and will load the bases for the Brantford Red Sox. A single from Kieran Bowles. Now 4 players in a row for the Red Sox side that have reached base.
It was good on Champ Garner to get the ball in as fast as possible to make sure that no one was able to get home on the play. So they're lucky that it's a bases loaded situation right now instead of a man on first, second, and 1 in.
So Travis Keys struggling a little bit now on the mound. We haven't seen that too much this year for such an incredible pitcher. As I mentioned, top 5 in 2 major statistical categories, strikeouts and wins across all the IBL. And DHing today, Vaibhav Desai steps in for the first time with bases loaded. Keys, a lot of work to do defensively. Slider looming down and outside, draws a swing for strike 1.
And if it's to say anything in Keys' favor right here, even though there's 3 men on, bases loaded, not a lot of it has looked like very hard contact. And that's almost what we've seen pretty consistently from this Brantford team, even though for the past few times that they've been in. Last time they had quite a few hits in comparison to the majors, and last time these two teams met up. But again, not a lot of it was incredibly hard hit. They're a team that entirely focuses on a small ball mentality, just trying to bloop things in, get some soft contact, try and get the defense to move around and go from there. So they're hoping to keep that rolling tonight, and it's clearly been a bit successful for them right now.
And there we go, the first strikeout of the evening for Travis Keys against Vaibhav Desai. Really disappointed in himself there. Really, any ball you'd have to imagine that made it past the infield would have scored at least 1 for the Red Sox. But he gets sat down. I believe that was in 3 pitches as well.
Yeah, exactly. Really quick at bat, and that's exactly what Keys needs. It's been a tough inning for him, thrown a lot, end up limiting just how far he can go in this game. So anytime that he can get a 3-pitch at bat is exactly what he's looking for.
Travis Keys well over 20 pitches already in this second inning of play. Ethan Paulo steps back in. Steps in for the first time, actually, playing center field today. Had to make 2 catches already and recorded 2 outs.
And Palos right now is essentially just hoping not to strike out. He's had a tougher time in terms of his walk-to-strikeout ratio. He's struck out 19 times on the season, only walked 8 times. And that's not the kind of the line that you like having.
This one smoked directly into the glove of Victor Plaz, and the Majors get themselves out of a pickle at the top of the second. Had bases loaded against them, but 2 great at-bats and pitching performances there for Travis Keys. Keeps this one scoreless, 0 apiece.
Great for Victor Plaz. It's exactly what you want, and it's nice. It might be one of the most stressful 2 steps that you take in terms of getting the ball and just going to touch the base. But it's a great out, and I'm sure Travis Keys is really thanking his defense right now for that one in terms of keeping it in the infield, getting the outs. Could have gotten very dicey very quick in that inning.
Definitely a close call in the end for the Majors. Something that the Red Sox will want back in hindsight. Potential game changer there. So no cashing in from either Vaibhav Desai or Ethan Paulos.
The Majors are hoping to get it running right now with Reichstein, Brownlee, and Plaz up to bat. Good mix of power, good mix of contact between all those guys. And you get a nice little veteran core right off the bat with Reichstein and Brownlee. It's nice having those 2 back-to-back. A lot of years shared with the Majors between those 2 players. And especially over the last little bit, we were talking a lot about Cardoso and that hitting streak he was on. And he was on the way to catching up to Reichstein's current record, which is 26 games in a row for getting on base. And it's nice having not only one person in contention trying to get to that point with their current season, but trying to get to the record that's already set by another player that's with them as well.
It's a bit of a tough outing, though, on that last one for Travis Keys. All things considered, no runs against, but he did have a 22-pitch inning. So that pitch count running high already. We'll keep an eye on it for you folks at home as we switch things up. The Red Sox and Farquharson back on the mound pitching. Now the All-Star game and All-Star weekend in Welland approaching us. In Welland, I should say. A lot of majors announced to the team, including the likes of Starling Joseph, Caden Cardoso, Travis Keys, the starting pitcher for the Celt team. On the bench, Eduardo De Olio, Victor Plaz, Drew Lawrence, Victor Payano, and Braden Farrington. For the Red Sox, shortstop Gus Wilson, the only starter for the Red Sox on their team. Jeremiah Sucre for Brantford as well on the mound, and Josh Laukkanen on the bench. So 2 pitchers on the bench, and the shortstop starter is Gus Wilson. A lot of all-stars in action tonight.
Well, it's a lot of fun. It's something the team was also anticipating from kind of the get-go. There's just a lot of talent on this roster across the board, and they're just happy to get some guys heading to the All-Star game. It should be a great showcase. Should be a whole lot of fun.
Byron Reichstein's going to hit one into deep left field. It's carrying. Had to make a long run there, Marcos Castillo. But a quick out there for the Red Sox, already 1 down in the bottom of the second.
And tough one for Reichstein. He definitely had a lot of lift on the ball. He definitely no shortage from power coming from this guy. But just ended up getting a bit too far underneath it, clubbing it a little bit too much, not able to get as much drive as he was looking for on that play.
So the oh-so-loved Cleveland Brownleys steps into the plate for the first time. DHing today for the majors. Cleve been here for 14 seasons, perhaps one of the best majors of all time, definitely the longest tenured major, especially as of right now. Someone whose leadership is counted on time and time again on this major squad. Especially, they have the caliber for a deep playoff run this year. And Cleveland Brownlee, I imagine, would play a big leadership role in that run.
Oh, definitely. It's almost hard not to get a little angry at Cleveland Brownlee sometimes with just how great he is at everything. Not only playing, but just a great, incredible human being as well. One of the nicest guys who will go around and shake hands with all the team members beforehand. He'll kind of float around. If he sees us doing one of the interviews, he'll come over, say hi. An incredibly nice gentleman, a great London native, and incredible baseball player as well.
He takes a hack at this one, down 2-1 in the count. Cleve having a little bit of an off year this year for the majors, batting .156. Rather uncharacteristic of him, but as the years goes up, the numbers tend to come down.
Well, and he's been improving quite a lot lately. Over the weekend, there weren't many bright spots to be found, but Cleveland was definitely one of them. Yeah. Ended up batting .500 over the couple games that he was in, going 1 for 2, and each of his hits were home runs. So he's got the power, he's got it in there, and hopefully he's now on the right track to kind of getting back into some of the plus columns here.
Cleve's going to check his swing on this one. The umpire says he got a cross.
Well, Cleveland not happy about that. You can see exactly kind of what he was showing physically, throwing his hands up, very much disagreeing with that call. Didn't think he went around.
Call will strike him out. Second strikeout of the night for Gregor Farquharson. Call made in the end by Takahito Matsuda, the first base umpire. On third base, it's Mike Kinnear tonight. And obviously, we mentioned previously, Steve Cochran is the crew chief at home plate.
What a great showing so far from Farquharson. Very efficient at-bats, getting the strikeouts, getting the pop-ups, trusting his defense. And it's just been a really good outing for him so far. It could be a really deep drive for him if he keeps pitching the way he is.
Got a good fastball working for him right now. This one down the middle. Didn't draw anything from Victor Plaz. He's bulldozed through the heart of the majors order. A team that's really made a joke of pitchers this season. Definitely one of the best offensive teams in the IBL. But Farquharson giving them a run for their money tonight.
Well, the majors are just hoping to get something going. Still haven't gotten a hit so far in this game compared to the 2 that the Red Sox have. And it's just really gone down to this pitching. They've not been able to square him up so far, so they're hoping to just sink in, learn from these at-bats as well. There's always communication. These guys are always talking to each other. You see them always close together after every single at-bat, but just saying kind of what to look for.
A nice breaking ball displayed there by Farquharson. A little too low, though, outside. Count at 1-2.
When Farquharson's actually one of the better guys for limiting opposing averages as well. So far on the season, he's actually got his numbers down to 235 opponent averages.
Victor Plaz hits one directly in the direction of Nick Burdett, who juggles and bobbles the ball. Can't get it quite under control, at least not in time, for the quick feet of Victor Plaz, who reached first safely and makes it on base for the majors with 2 outs.
One great hustle. This team has a whole ton of speed, and it's one of those plays where sometimes when you ground out over towards just an infielder, a kind of routine play, you'll see the players almost slow down, think of it as an inevitable out. But that hustle is exactly why it's important to treat every at-bat like it's a hot at-bat, like you could always get a hit off anything. So they're able to turn that little bobble into a base hit.
Victor Plaz made a good run in the end. to reach first safely despite the efforts of Nick Burdett. And Brad Verhoeven, second last in the order today, playing left field. Another player that's rather out of position, usually the spot of Starling Joseph. So he's playing understudy today. But when he has come in, he's made a big impact, Brad Verhoeven. Again, utility player on this Majors team, but has been swinging the bat pretty decently so far this season.
Yeah, exactly. His average hasn't been spectacular right now. He's batting .212, but it's the stats around that.
Yeah.
His hits have been incredibly productive and incredibly clutch so far on the season.
A bouncing ball gets past the catcher, Villiers. Around to potentially third now is Victor Plaz. He's in there safely off a wild pitch, and just like that, the Majors in scoring position, potentially to try to drive in the first run of tonight. Brad Verhoeven, what didn't look like too much of an opportunity with 2 outs, now something rather promising.
What incredible heads-up base running. You don't often see players try to make the turn from second to third over on a wild pitch like that. Most will usually kind of like stop at second, get comfortable there, but incredible base running, incredible heads-up play from Victor Plaz right there.
So Plaz in scoring position. Verhoeven takes a hack at this one, gets by him for strike 2. Count even at 2-2.
When he's good at making contact. So far on the season, he actually only has 1 strikeout. 1 strikeout, 1 walk right now, so a very good ratio for walks and strikes. But all in that time, 5 RBIs as well, so he's very good at driving in these players.
The 2-2 to Verhoeven. This one well inside. Count moves to full. Needs to keep a steady eye here. A strikeout. Immediately cancels out the base running efforts of Victor Plaz.
Very opportune moment to get a first hit and a first RBI.
He will rip one down that first base line into foul right field. And thank goodness that didn't hit anyone because the exit velocity was substantial.
When you can see Verhoeven like lean his head back, almost disappointed that he wasn't able to get it to stay in the ballpark. Is incredibly well hit. Great power off of it. If it stayed within the foul lines, would have been a spectacular hit. Good launch angle on it as well. I don't think anyone really would have caught it.
Almost certainly would have been an RBI double.
Exactly.
Least. The count remains at full, though. Farquharson's pitch is way high. Couldn't get the technicality of that one under control. Looked to try to be a high breaking ball, I imagine, a high curve, but to no end. And Brad Verhoeven reaches first. The Majors paint the corner. Verhoeven at first, Plaz at third, Champ Gardner in the bottom of the order for the Majors. Stepping in now. So 2 on for them. Big opportunity here for Gardner.
Kind of like I mentioned earlier in the game, Champ has had some really good at-bats and some solid contact.
Speaking of solid content, this one will reach past second base in the shallow center field. And Victor Plaz across to score. It's an RBI single for Champ Gardner. The Majors draw first blood, lead 1-0.
Knew that was going to happen eventually. Knew that was going to happen at some point. He's just been playing too well, having too good of contact, barreling up the ball. He's had some real bad luck over the past little while.
Yeah.
He was bound to get something over in his column for once on one of these games.
Worked out nicely for him. A good hit. You mentioned solid contact, and it happened directly after you said it. Majors score first, and impressively so. They had 2 outs and only a player on first base, but due to a wild pitch, that changed perhaps the course of this entire game. Farquharson's ball is well inside as the Majors still have 2 on. Verhoeven at second, Champ Gardner at first. And back to the top of the order with Gibson Kresminski, who struck out in his first at-bat.
Well, that was one of those tough instances where even though you relatively have a base open in terms of second, you could have pitched around him. The fact that it was the number 9 hitter, if you walked him, got him on, goes back to the top of the order, turns around, and that's not what you want at all. So they kind of had to really pitch to Champ Gardner there, and it ended up being to their deficit a little bit.
Fastball high and upstairs, having a bit of trouble ever since that wild pitch, getting things under control. Farquharson seemingly did almost a perfect job beforehand. Breaking ball inside. Another wild pitch gets past Jeremy Villiers. And Brad Verhoeven safely at third now also advances Champ Gardner to second. The Majors have 2 more in scoring position. They're not done yet in the second.
No, definitely not. We thought it was going to be another quick outing. Those first 2 at-bats ended up kind of going up and down pretty fast. And it was pretty consistent across the entire start of the game, too. So might just be a little bit of the jitters after one misplay after the wild pitches there. And he's hoping to get it on track, but the Majors will definitely take what they can off of it.
Not to mention the count at 3-0. We heard those ball four chants. The strike will be called, though, off a low fastball inside to Kresminski. Much needed fastball as well for a strike. Potential to load the bases here for the Majors if Farquharson doesn't get things under control. The 3-1. Outside, bases loaded now. Gibson Kresminski. First time on base for him today. He'll get to first. Chem Gardner on second. Brad Verhoeven on third. And in steps Ty Mosher with a huge opportunity ahead of him.
So Meaton on the mound, almost just to try and almost calm Farquharson down just a smidge, trying to get him to breathe a little bit, kind of separate those wild pitches from his mind right now. And there's a tough at-bat, especially with Kresminski there, because he's been so hot lately in terms of driving in RBIs. They're almost not too upset that they were just able to get him over to first. Could have been further damage with how he's been playing so far, but it really lines it up for Mosher to have an opportunity to drive in some runs.
The Red Sox coaching staff has a talk over with Farquharson, who's up to 22 pitches now in this second inning of play, similar to Travis Keys' tally of, I believe it also was around a 22-pitch inning.
Yeah, pretty much identical right now between the two. It didn't seem like it was going to be that way at the start of the game, but it's really almost balanced out here in the second.
Fresh start for Ty Mosher, and bases loaded. Farquharson upstairs. He cannot afford to make a mistake here without any further damage being done against his Red Sox.
Well, and right now from Farquharson, with him kind of mislocating on the bottom of the zone, we might be seeing him try and elevate a little bit more, try and go a bit more left to right on some of these pitches.
Fastball outside, count it 2-0.
So we might see a little bit more kind of sliders inside, some two-seamers outside, some curveballs up, just to try and get himself to not be thinking about those lower pitches, just to get it out of his mind a little bit, at least for this inning.
Another ball outside. Almost three fastballs in a row, way outside and left of the plate. The Majors are a ball away from scoring another one. Farquharson very much so in a jam. The 3-0. Fastball will paint that bottom outside corner. 3-1.
That could have been the most perfect strike in the world, and I do not think that there is a world where he was going to swing at that ball.
Yeah.
I think big red light with 2 outs here. Bases loaded, 3-0 count. Had to sit on it.
Farquharson's done a lot of the work for Mosher, but Mosher will belt this one into right field. What a catch in the end, though. My goodness, Cam Gurney got across to it. That one was on a rope, required a fast run with clean hands in the end, and that's exactly what Brantford was able to come up with. They prevent anything further happening against them with bases loaded as they sit down Ty Mosher and the Majors side. At the end of 2, the Majors add 1 in the end, leading 1-0 over the Brantford Red Sox. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Majors TV, and things are heating up.
Get suited up with us for our big night. We went to Collins Clothiers. They had suits and tuxedos in various colors and styles. The staff helped us pick exactly what we wanted. They custom fit our suits for the perfect fit. They even matched us to our date's dress. It was so much fun trying on suits with the boys on the VIP night. They even got us pizza while we tried clothes on.
For prom kids, of course, are going to be the best dressed.
We felt so confident and looked amazing.
When you need a night out, Throw London is on point. With an atmosphere that's a cut above, Throw London brings together the best in knife throwing, axe throwing, and darts. So it's the perfect spot for a date night, night out with friends, leagues, and team building for the office. You've got to be 13 or older to throw pointy objects and 19 plus to enjoy their fully licensed offerings. It's the best spot in London for some fun with an edge. London's original knife throwing. Check them out at 2190 Dundas Street East and online at ithrow.ca. That's ithrow.ca.
Labatt Memorial Park, the Brantford Red Sox in town, taking on the third-place London Majors, who currently are leading 1-0 after an RBI single coming from none other than Champ Gardner, scoring Victor Plaz off a wild pitch that moved him over to third base. But they did leave things with bases loaded after retiring Ty Mosher. A rocket shot out to right field, caught in the end by the wonderful Cam Gurney. Majors playing well so far, but Travis Key struggling a little bit, especially with the pitch count, Justin.
Exactly. He's hoping to kind of tone it down a little bit. I'd say both pitchers are almost in that mix right now. Hopefully he's just trying to settle in, almost just get some pitches in the zone, trust your defense a little bit more as well. I think he's trying to finesse the ball a little bit more than he should be right in these instances, and it was biting him a little bit. I think he just, like I said, needs to trust his defense a little bit.
Marcos Castillo checking back in, playing left field. He flew out in his last at-bat. This ball down low from Keys, called for a strike. The count's 0-2 to Castillo. Tough time hitting so far for the Red Sox this season, but they did have a bases-loaded opportunity earlier in this one, as this is belted out by Castillo, but right back deep center into the glove of Champ Gardner to again record an early first out in the inning.
Well, it's one of the toughest parts of the ballpark, just in general, trying to get that drive right to center field. Usually you kind of want to either pull it in either direction, and Champ was just in a perfect position, able to run back, get the ball, but tough if you're the Red Sox right there that you couldn't bring it to a different part of the ballpark.
So 0-2 on the day so far for Castillo, and Gus Wilson checks back in. Also flew out in his last at-bat. Keys trying to get things more under control. A dribbler almost got past Ty Mosher. He stops it in the end, but the throw was just way too far. Nice job from him, though, to potentially prevent a double. Would have been a tough play to turn regardless, but a nice diving effort keeps Gus Wilson at first, and that's his first hit of the game.
Well, and a good show. It's almost one of those risky plays where if you dive for it and aren't able to come up with it, that switches potentially from a single into a double, makes it a little bit more dicey. But if you are able to come with it, it limits him to first. Good attempt to try and get him out at first, but just a tough situation. Good hustle from him.
So nice hustle there from Ty Mosher. As number 14 back up now, it will be a change of position. Appears that Cam Gurney is out of the game. So we'll get a number for you shortly, or a name. I believe it's Roger Keane. Looks to be Roger Keane now in place of Cam Gurney. So we're not quite sure what happened there. Cam Gurney was playing out in right field. We'll keep an eye out on how that shakes things up defensively. Keep a note, though, there, because Roger Keane currently batting third. The 0-1 from Travis Keys swung on from Keane. Down to 0-2 now. Majors have one out.
Well, and Keane right now has actually been having a pretty good season. Hasn't gotten a whole ton of playing time, but he's actually batting .279 on the year this year in 86 at-bats. In 22 at-bats, excuse me there. Got one run off 6 hits, and a good strikeout to walk ratio as well right now, with 2 walks on the season right now, and he's been hit by a pitch once as well.
Travis Keys trying to cool things down. Running a little bit high on pitches between the 35 and 40 range. A little high for the third inning. A toss from Keys. Called for strike 3, retiring Roger Keane for the first time tonight. He steps up and immediately strikes out. Taken advantage of by Travis Keys, and it's 2 outs for the Majors in the top of the third.
Well, and Keane didn't really seem to like that call as well. We've seen a couple disagreements between both Brantford Red Sox players and London Majors players as well on some of the strike calling that we've seen so far early in the game. But in any case, this is exactly to London's benefit right now, and Travis Keys will take it in a heartbeat.
So the big bat of Nick Burdett steps back in. He walked in his first at-bat. It was the first play for the Red Sox to actually reach base today. This one outside for a ball. 1-0. 2 outs for the Majors. You still got to deal with Gus Wilson at first.
Well, and Key is not quite able to drop that pitch in right off the top there.
This one is belted, carrying back into the right field area. It's going to be caught in the end, but a booming hit from Nick Burdett right to the glove of Byron Reichstein. Champ Garner drifted in the area as well. But the Majors sit down the side, again get out of the inning scoreless. So the Majors scoreless for their first three defensively. Now we're going to throw it down to this week's installment of Roop's Report, where you, Justin, caught up with General Manager and co-owner of the London Majors, Ro Chanderdat, before this one.
So I'm here with co-owner and general manager Ro Chanderdat. Roop, again, I know what your answer is going to be, but how's the day going today?
Beautiful day, Labatt Park, sunny day, game day. I love it. Excited.
It's very strange having a game here at Labatt on Saturday, but we'll take any baseball that we can get today. Right off the bat, yesterday, big win across the board for offense, pitching, defense, and it came at a very needed time right after those few losses over the weekend. Just how important can a decisive win like that be for a team's morale going forward?
It's huge. You know what? We're a fragile group going in. No doubt about it. The guys bounced back, and you mentioned it. One thing I want to stress about is defense. We had. Starling Joseph made a good defense play. Osika at second base. Byron running out some balls. And a big one, Diolio, first and third, throws out a runner for the second out. So we had about 4 top-end defensive plays. And then you add that with some bullpen pitchers that did a great job. Farrington, Springer, and then Sky, you're right. And then start of the game offensively. Gibby had a huge night, top of the order. Couple steals, couple hits, RBIs. So it was a good night. And back to your original question, we can hope to springboard that and leverage that for the rest of the weekend.
It's one of those games where it was tough to really find a single highlight because there were so many throughout. And last question for you. We know exactly what the players are hoping to improve and work on week to week. But as a coach, what's something that you're kind of looking to improve either week to week or season to season as well?
You know what? Week to week is just creating offense when things have dried up. How can we score 1 or 2 runs? We're going to hit the long ball. We're going to be an offense that, can get some hits here and there. But how can we create a run? Can we steal? Can we hit and run? Things we need to do to create a run. And then the bigger one is defense. We've got to hang our hat on something. Pitching and defense is usually our core values. So if we can keep pitching, improve our bullpen, and play solid defense, we'll be in every game.
Great point. The Majors are a great offensive team, but there's other great offensive teams too, so defense can really come in clutch in a lot of those games. So thank you very much. Best of luck in today's game, and let's send it back up to Ty and Dylan in the Game Day Lennon press box to continue with the rest of the game.
Thank you so much for that, Roop. And, of course, Justin, great interview before this one. Caden Cardoso stepping back in now, and he's going to slap one in between the shortstop and third base to reach base for the second time this game. He walked in his first at-bat, a single here, and he gets on in the bottom of the third for the Majors.
Cardoso's not waiting for much. He's eager. He wants to get on base. As soon as he sees a pitch that he likes, he'll take it.
Eduardo Deolio flew out in his last at-bat. 0 for 1 on the day. Historically a clutch hitter against the Red Sox, looking for more of that here. Cardoso is now on first, and the Majors, great job offensively last time out. Loaded the bases, unfortunately, and it was a good hit in the end by Ty Mosher, but directly into the glove of, we believe it actually might have been Roger Keane in right field.
Yes, it sounds like he might have tweaked something in his previous at-bat. Not Keane.
Cam Gurney.
Exactly.
Yes.
And ended up getting pulled from the game. So, yeah, we believe it was Keane who was actually over in right field during that last play.
Farquharson still on the mound as we've started to take notice. The pitch count running high for both teams here. And we'll keep an eye on the bullpens. No action, though, as of yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. These are two pitchers who can really go pretty deep into games if they can. We'll probably see both, barring any changes.
Cardoso will go. This one drops in the dirt for Jeremy Villiers. No throw even attempted. Cardoso with a stolen base reaches second in scoring position now with no outs.
As I was saying, between these two pitchers, they're set up to go deep. Barring any setbacks, they should be able to go probably 90 to 100 pitches each, if it's similar to previous outings. And from the rate that we're going right now, it seems like they'll probably be taking out probably 7th or 8th. It might end up being a bullpen match late in the game.
Fastball high to Deolio. We'll leave it there.
And Deolio is definitely one of the players who can get some good contact at the ball and really drive it. He still leads the Majors in home runs right now with 5 homers across the board. Still leading the likes of Starling Joseph with 4, Byron Reichstein with 4. Actually, right behind Cardoso with 6, who's leading. So right behind him, it's a good 1-2 punch with Cardoso and Deolio.
Definitely one of the best back-to-back hitting sequences in all the IBL. Deolio had a green light on 3-0, took it. Fouled it off behind him, though. Count at 3-1 now from Farquharson. He's got a good fastball working for him, really, until that last inning. This one bounces right ahead of Diolio. An easy pitch to read. 2 majors on with no outs. And Farquharson starting to get in a wee bit of trouble.
Well, and again, we're starting to see some trouble with the bottom of the zone in particular.
Yes.
Any pitch that he's been trying to go down in, ends up going too far down, end up hitting the dirt. So ends up making it a not very competitive pitch for these batters. And you could see Diolio pretty quick off the get-go on that final pitch. Knew it wasn't going to get to him. Was almost already in the process of throwing his bat out by the time that it got to the catcher. So we'll see how he goes from here. He might end up going back up in the zone a little bit, trying to counteract it. Because those pitches down in the zone just aren't really working for him right now.
Another one in the dirt, so that's a ball, as you've talked about his struggles towards the bottom of the plate. The bottom of the strike zone, actually. As Bayern Reichstein back up now. He flew out in his last at-bat, but he's got some room to work with here with no outs. As he's going to belt one. This one carrying back into deep right field, and you can kiss it goodbye. A bomb from Byron Reichstein. A 3-run bomb. And the Majors have whipped this game right open, leading now 4-0 over the Red Sox off the heroics from Byron Reichstein.
What a no-doubter right there from Reichstein. You can almost see Diolio's hands go right up in the air as soon as that ball got hit. Everybody on the base bats knew that was going to be a home run, and the Majors are making the opportunities where they can. It was a tough inning last time, leaving some people on. Not the trouble in this inning so far.
A 3-run homer from Byron Reichstein. Puts the Majors well ahead in this one, trying to put it out of reach completely for the Red Sox. But what a great hit that was. Lined it up perfectly, was kind of feeling out Farquharson. And he just gave him the right pitch at the right time. The bat speed was there, the velocity was there, and obviously the distance was there, Justin.
Oh, exactly. And what an impressive player across the board. We've talked about him a whole bunch over the past few weeks, not just for his power, his contact, his plate discipline, his defense across the board. Just a fundamental player, and it pays off in dividends for this Majors team.
Still no outs for the Majors in the bottom of the third. Brownlee takes a hack at this one, gets by him 0-2. What a fantastic hit from Reichstein to score both himself, Cardoso, and Diolio.
I like to think Reichstein just wanted to take some RBIs away from Cleveland. Those two are very close, been playing for quite a lot of years. Ended up going from a deep...
Brownlee's going to bounce one past Farquharson into the glove of Kieran Bowles over to first, and Cleve is sat down for the first out of this third inning.
Cleveland again making some contact. Probably would have wanted a little bit more power on the location that he got from there, just to try and drive it through the infield a little bit quicker. But good defense from this Red Sox team, able to get to it, make the play over to first. Very routine play for them on that one.
Victor Plaz scored the first run of the game for either team and singled out in his last at bat.
Well, things really turned around quick for the Majors team right now. It's still 3 hits apiece for the Red Sox and the Majors, but all said and done, the Majors currently sit with 4-0. Really turned around for them so far in this game, and they're hoping to keep that running.
Farquharson into Victor Plaz. This one called for a strike. Count at 1 apiece. Desperately trying to sit down the Majors side.
Plaz right now been impressive at the plate, batting .314 on the season right now. 3 doubles, 2 home runs as well, and 13 RBIs on the season. And 10 walks to go along with it, so he's willing to wait, he's patient. But when he makes contact, he makes pretty good contact on it. So hoping to keep the drive we got so far running.
Plaz is sitting at 1-2. Farquharson's fastball is swung on and fouled into the right field bleachers. Count stays at 1-2. Victor Plaz waiting for his pitch. Farquharson desperately trying to get things more under control here. Not quite on that pitch. Breaking ball didn't quite work for him. Was high and inside. Count at 2-2.
Trying to drop that curveball in right into the top of the zone. Again, one of my favorite plays, but just not able to string it together right now.
Plaz is going to chop one off directly to Kieran Bowles. Bowles flips it in time. Plaz was coming close, but got out quite in the end there. 2 outs now for the Red Sox. Desperately needed out, but they still have work to do. Brad Verhoeven checking back in. He walked in his last at bat.
The silver lining for the Red Sox right now is they've been able to shut it down pretty quick and recover from that big 3-run bomb that Reichstein hit. 2 quick outs. They're hoping to get the 3rd out here right now, and Brad Verhoeven is thinking otherwise.
As you mentioned, Verhoeven trying to add on to this thunderous tally of Majors hits that have really started to show up on the scoreboard, leading 4-0. And we're still in the 3rd. Big swing there from Verhoeven for strike 1 against him. Count at 1-1. And if we know anything from the Red Sox side, is they've had a tough time hitting this year. So they really have to pull a rabbit out of the hat in order to crawl back and beat the Majors. But the good thing is time is definitely on their side.
Yes, exactly. And they're really trying to sit defensively on Verhoeven right now. You can see them almost shifted a bit in the outfield right now. The second baseman is really shifted over. There's a big gap right up the center there.
And Kieran Bowles has moved quite over to the first base side, drifting even a little bit past the halfway mark between first and second. Count it 2 apiece. And Farquharson trying to finally sit down the Majors in this 3rd. Fastball is chopped on. It's going to dribble. Takes a generous bounce, though, as it looks like if it stayed fair, Verhoeven was definitely going to be out because Farquharson was going to track it down. The tag was definitely on for either Farquharson or Nick Burdett, and it's just a foul in the end.
Yeah, very happy that he's able to walk back to the plate in this one. Would have, exactly like you said, been a really tough play for him to try to get to first with just where that ball was located. So he gets another shot on it to try and make some contact here.
2-2 with 2 outs. Farquharson's fastball again fouled off behind home plate, and Jeremy Villiers. Villiers had a couple balls now that have gotten by him in this game. Potentially costly too, of course. Victor Plaz moved to 3rd on one of them, ended up scoring just a couple of sequences later. And another ball moved Caden Cardoso up even further. Or excuse me, it was actually Champ Gardner who moved up further, as well as Brad Verhoeven earlier. So a couple mistakes. It's a miscommunication between Farquharson and Villiers.
Well, and without those wild pitches, this is a totally different game.
Yeah.
You almost don't have momentum going in the way of the Majors. If you don't have those runs, it could completely change the mindsets, completely change how these players are thinking just off of a couple rough plays. It immediately makes everyone a bit more patient, a bit more hesitant to swing at some of these pitches, thinking that, hey, a lot of these might go out of the zone, so maybe I don't actually need to try and clobber one right now. I just need to be a little patient. So might kind of bit of indirect favor going for the Majors right now, and they're really benefiting from it.
A really fantastic at-bat here for Brad Verhoeven. A lot of pitches being thrown by Gregor Farquharson, and is tiring his arm out. I've seen a little bit of movement, no throwing yet in the bullpen, but a couple pitchers are stretching for the Red Sox.
Well, and just good contact.
Farquharson's ball inside. Count moves to full. Had good movement on it, but was just way too far inside.
And like I mentioned earlier, he's not one to strike out very often. Only 1 on the season, so he's very good at just getting the bat on the ball, keeping these at-bats alive, extending them, and really tiring out some of these pitchers.
This will be the 28th pitch of this inning, but it is fired right back near the warning track. Not going to be caught in the end by Roger Keane, and Brad Verhoeven's going to potentially have a triple here. No, he's going to hold up at second. But what a hit in the end from him with 2 outs against his name. Perfect placement. Just too far for Roger Keane. Fingertips away from his glove. And Verhoeven, just like that, another major in scoring position.
What a spectacular hit. Really turned on the ball. Got it exactly where he wanted to. Getting these outfielders to really extend as they're running for it. And sometimes when you do that, when they're having to book it through these balls, that's when you might get a little bit of a misplay right there. And suddenly standing on second base with a great hit, keeping this inning alive for the Majors.
Keeping it alive for Farquharson's struggles continue. Up to 29 pitches on the inning. Champ Gardner back in. He'll take a swing at that one. Strike 1.
The Red Sox not playing anywhere close to the bag. They're not trying to throw anyone out. They're not trying to do anything special. They're just trying to get this one out right here, right now to end this inning.
Could desperately use it.
Oh, and I believe a balk was called right here.
A balk is in order. Brantford Hooven makes his way over to third. Majors definitely in scoring position now, even further. And Champ Gardner another opportunity. Here a call. Champ Gardner helped to score the first run of the game with an RBI single.
So this entire at-bat completely changed in a heartbeat with how it was going. And very quickly, we have a man on third, and Champ hoping to drive someone in.
Garner takes a hack at this one. That'll be strike 3 called, so can't add on to their tally even further. But the Majors blow this game wide open. A 3-run homer from Byron Reichstein, potentially changing the course of this one tonight. Majors are leading 4-0 over the Red Sox. When we come back, you're watching Majors TV.
Hello, my name is Jim Nutter with Nutter's The Award Store. Come along with me on a virtual tour to take a look at our amazing products and services that we're able to provide to you to help you with your recreation needs.
Welcome back, folks, inside Labatt Memorial Park. The London Majors had an absolutely incredible third inning of play, scoring 3 runs off a 3-run homer from Byron Reichstein. On the flip side, though, the pitching for the Red Sox has gotten a little bit out of hand. Farquharson, after a 22-pitch second inning, 31 pitches in that third, and he's running a little bit hot here.
Yes, exactly. It all just got out of hand a little bit too quickly. The control has been the biggest factor for him. Any pitches that he's leaving the zone, he's leaving it right down the middle, which someone like Byron Reichstein's able to capitalize on. Everything else has been a little all over the place. Pitches going outside, pitches going right down in the dirt, wild pitches. It just has not been a consistent outing for him so far.
A lot of little ones out on the field, as per usual at Majors games. A fantastic time. A real cathedral for fun here at Labatt Memorial Park, and we encourage you to come down and catch some wonderful games, as we still got a lot left on the schedule. A team that is primed for a playoff run, and we have a lot of fun stuff going on. Obviously, Pride in the Park was yesterday. We have the UNESCO City of Music concert, and the London City of Music is what they call it, on August 9th. That one coming up, and obviously on August 16th, we have the second annual Grand Slam with the Grand Theatre of London, Canada. So it should be a lot of fun in this one. Travis Keys remains on the mound for the Majors, and he's done well so far. Got his team out of a couple tough jams, including back in the second when the bases were loaded.
Yeah, exactly. He's really kind of sunk into it a little bit. Took him a little bit to get going, was a little erratic with some of the pitches right off the get-go, but he's sunk into it, trusted his defense, doing exactly what he needs to try and extend his outing in this one today.
So I believe Jeremy Villiers will be back up to bat next for the Brantford Red Sox. Talked about before the break a team that's had a lot of trouble hitting this year, and they're going to have to change that tremendously and quickly if they're able to make any sort of comeback. Villiers single in his last time out. He's 1 for 1 on the day. Good news is for the Red Sox, the next 3 expected, Villiers, Whalen, and Bowles, all recorded singles in their last at-bats. Deolio, a neat turn there after he picked that one off the ground. It was outside, but ball 1.
He is very good at keeping the pitches in front of him. Not many go by him pretty consistently. He's very good, not just on that end defensively, but he prides himself on throwing people out on the base paths too. So I always love seeing that from him.
This ball caught high and upstairs. Just low enough, though, to be called for a strike. Count moves to 1-1 to Villiers. The toss from Keys requires a big swing, but it gets by Jeremy Villiers. 2 strikes now. 1 away, looking for his 3rd strikeout of the game, Travis Keys.
On Villiers, again, one of their better players in terms of contact on the team, batting .282 right now with 24 hits, 5 doubles, and a home run as well, and 13 RBIs. He's actually sitting in 2nd for RBIs on the team right now.
Villiers takes a hack at this one. Gets well behind home, though. Count stays at 1-2, so he kept himself alive.
One of the biggest things against Villiers, though, is he's quite prone to striking out. He has 30 on the season right now so far. 5 above the next highest on the team, which is tied between Wilson and Desai as well at 25.
Nearly another strikeout against him there, but got just enough of it, ticked it off. Keeps himself alive. Count remains once again at 1-2.
It's one of those times where if you're Keys, you can probably try and get him to extend the zone a little bit. He's been swinging at pretty much every ball that's been in his direction right now, so try and extend it a little bit.
Swung on, another strikeout for Travis Keys, his 3rd of the game, and sits down statistically a player that he probably should in Jeremy Villiers. As you mentioned, the first out for the majors in the top of the 4th.
That's exactly one of those plays where if you were to write a whole ball game out on paper, if you were to write it down, notate the entire thing, that's a play that you probably could have not predicted have happened, but that's the one that you exactly want to have happen. If you're Keys setting up for that matchup, going for that strikeout is exactly what you want.
So in steps Stephen Whalen now, who, as I mentioned, singled in his last at-bat. He's going to chop this one off down the first base line. It's going to be into the bleachers, though. Count at 0-1. Brantford has seen a little bit of success already, so trying to add to the promising start that they had after loading the bases. This one's going to be picked off beautifully. I mean, a really textbook play from Ty Mosher. Throw was perfect and on time. Great placement to Cardoso. Not the easiest out, definitely easier said than done, but Mosher made it look easy, and it's 2 out for the majors in the bottom of the 4th, or top of the 4th.
Well, great positioning, a great read on this batter. Knew exactly where he was going to hit it, to be right in the right spot for where that hit was going to go, and able to turn it around quick to get him right out on the base pass. Might have been a little bit of a low throw over to Cardoso, but it's not an easy throw from short over to first.
Back up now. It appears to be Kieran Bowles after 2 outs. So the side that went 3 for 3 in their last outing might go out in order.
Bowles would like to keep this inning alive, extend it a little bit, try and keep pace with the majors in terms of hits right now. But we'll see how it goes. Keys has really turned it up in these couple innings, gotten his command right down pat, able to strike these guys out, get the plays that he's going for. So if you're Keys, this has been spectacular. Really turned it around right now.
He has, and he's been in a few tough situations tonight already. Trying to remain strong, as you mentioned, Justin, a player who can go into the deep innings, potentially 7 or 8. But this one is going to be recorded for a hit. Kieran Bowles moves to 2 for 2 on the day. Both singles right past Ty Mosher at second base. Or excuse me, in the second base line, Ty Mosher actually playing short in between Mosher and Krasminski.
Well, and a great play, exactly where you want that ball to go. You want to drive it right up in between, get between these infielders, try and get some soft contact on it to get over to first. And that's exactly what this Red Sox team has really been kind of known for. That's kind of been their identity so far.
Keys got that one a little bit out of control upstairs. Well upstairs, it had a bit of movement on it. Duvehab Desai, who struck out in his last at-bat in 3 pitches. A toss from Keys. Low for ball 2. We do have 2 outs against them, but we've seen some big things happen already this game when a team had 2 outs against them offensively. Hasn't stopped anyone, including that double from Brad Verhoeven.
And Desai, their DH, has had a bit of a tough time when it comes to average right now. He's only batting .203 on the season and has struck out 25 times, so he's tied for second, like I mentioned, on that front. So he's just hoping to get some contact. He still has a good amount of hits. He has 14 hits, including 5 doubles and 2 home runs as well, including 11 RBIs. So when he does make contact, he's able to get some pretty good results from it. It's just trying to make contact in the first place.
So the previous check swing from Desai was called for a strike. This one upstairs to put the count at 3-1. Desai ahead.
If you're Desai, it's one of those times where you kind of want to be just a little bit patient right now. Try and get Keys to pitch out a little bit on him. Something similar to that to try and draw a walk exactly like that.
And it did. 2 Red Sox reach base back-to-back. Kieran Bowles on second. They have Desai reaches first, so Ethan Paulo steps in. The very bottom of the order with a lot of work to do. One swing of the bat could potentially draw this game within 1.
And if you're the Red Sox, that's exactly what you want to do. You need to get some of this momentum back in your direction. It's very much shifted in the Majors' favor right now. With 2 on, you do not want to strand these runners on. You want to do what you can to just get on base and then turn it back over to the top of the order as well.
Toss from Keys was outside for ball 1. I don't anticipate any stealing of bases here or any sort of silly movements. Got to keep things nice and simple and try to get a clean hit here from Paulos, who's batting .263 on the year.
All things said and done, though, if you're the Majors, it's kind of set up how you like it in terms of a base running standpoint. Bowles only has 2 stolen bases on the year, and he's the guy in front. Some of these guys who are up to plate right now are some of their more quick guys who are able to steal bases. So you're kind of hoping if you do have to get them on base, either a walk, a little bloop single, not too much, just to make sure that these runners don't advance too far. A hit that goes too far will probably drive Bowles in from second.
Count at 3, and O'Keefe has to be careful. Could potentially load the bases, but this one inside just enough to get a piece of the strike zone for strike 1. Definitely did not want to swing there, Paulos.
Definitely not. If you're Keys, you want to lock in right now. You do not want this order to turn over right now. You want to get that third out, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen right now.
Definitely doesn't. Pitch is too low, and the bases are loaded for the Red Sox for the second time in 4th innings.
Well, and it's, again, something we saw at the start of the game was a bit of slight command issues from Keys. He kind of sunk into it a little bit back in the 2nd and the 3rd inning, but it looks like it's come undone a little bit. Pitches have been a little bit erratic. Not quite to the extent that we've seen from Farquharson right now in terms of still keeping them relatively competitive, but he's kind of more dancing around the zone right now in comparison to Farquharson, who's been more going too far down in the zone right now.
Pitching coach for the Majors, Brent Wales, on the mound, talking things over with his ace, Travis Keys. And the majority, if not all of the infield, in conversation as well. He has to be careful as 21 pitches so far this inning. That count just keeps running high, seemingly for both pitchers. And the bases are loaded for the Red Sox for the 2nd time in the game. Dangerous for them, as they have 2 outs against them, but dangerous for the Majors because the Red Sox are back at the top of the order. Marcus Castillo is 0 for 2 today with 2 flyouts.
These are one of those times where you just need 1 out. If I'm Keys, you kind of might want to try just throwing it down in the zone. You don't need to do too much special. Castillo isn't one of the kind of more generally proven players. He's one of the younger guys on the roster, so almost try and trust your defense. Get these pitches in the zone. If he makes contact with it, try and work it from there. Just get it to the closest base and get out of this inning.
Really can't afford another walk here without scoring for the first time in the game for the Red Sox. Keys has to be careful, but 2 balls are already against him. Castillo in a favorable position.
And we're seeing the Majors bullpen start to move over. No one exactly pitching right now, but we see some of the players making their way over there to start warming up. Might be an indication for the next few innings.
A bunch of them. This one is cracked directly into the direction of Byron Reichstein. Makes the play in the end. And the Red Sox must be disappointed with themselves. For the 2nd time in this game, the side is retired with bases loaded. the Red Sox not able to add anything.
Well, and this has been one of the problems that honestly both teams have had some troubles with so far this season, and that's been leaving men on base. Talking with co-owner and GM Ro Chanderdat, he definitely knows that that's been one of the lingering issues that even the majors have had so far. And we've already seen a little bit in this game so far as well in terms of just stranding men on bases, not able to collect, and that just comes down to a few different factors in terms of how you construct the lineup, the mentalities of these hitters when they go up to the plate with men on. Completely changes the ball game, and it's just something that both the majors and the Red Sox have had a tough time of so far.
Castillo 0 for 3 on the day with that fly out to right field. And a really, really tough situation for them. The offense really hasn't been showing up much for them this season. They could have desperately used a hit there, but weren't able to record one in the end and let Travis Keys and the majors off the hook. Travis Keys, 2 times in the game, he's allowed the bases to be loaded. And he's gotten out of them 2 times in a row.
It's a tough situation to get in, but happy to not let any of those runs come in. At the end of the day, still only 4 hits for the Red Sox, no runs on the board as well. So even though it's been a little bit dicey, it's looked maybe not like the score kind of looks like it is right now. If you're the majors, if you're Travis Keys, that's what you want. If there's a time to really collect in, get those pitches to come in, it's when you have the bases loaded. That's when you need to be as sharp as possible.
So far, Quarson sitting on 50% for first pitch strikes. And Gibson Kresminski checking back in for the London Majors.
Majors just turning the order over, pretty much going 1-2-3 right now with Kresminski, Mosher, and Cardoso. So a dangerous part of the lineup, especially for Kresminski, who's been on a bit of a tear as of late. Hoping to keep it rolling.
Kresminski struck out in his first at-bat, walked in his last. Farquharson still on the mound. That fastball is well high. We don't have anyone throwing yet in the Red Sox bullpen, but his pitch count is also getting up there. Kresminski gets a piece of this one. It's going to put it into an ambiguous area, but Castillo makes the long run and relieves Gus Wilson of his duties to record the first out of the bottom of the 4th.
Good sharp outing just in that at-bat, and it's exactly almost what these 2 pitchers should be focusing on right now is trusting their defense. They've both been pitching around the zone, like I've said, and it very much just goes to show how similar they are in this outing and just how much they actually kind of on paper should be mimicking similar mindsets right now and how they're approaching these batters.
Here comes the 64th pitch of the evening for Gregor Farquharson. This one to Ty Mosher. Mosher takes a hack at it. He flew out to right field in his last at-bat, is 0 for 2 on the day. Definitely a player who's used to recording at least 1 hit in his appearances. So eager to get on base here. This one, fastball high upstairs corner. It's touched in the end, says Steve Cochran, for the first strike. Or the second strike, I should say. It's 0-2 to Ty Mosher.
And Mosher's, again, one of the kind of consistent guys, like you mentioned. Batting .306 on the season, one of multiple majors who are batting over 300. Led right now by Drew Lawrence, who's actually batting .394 on the season. Again, he's been battling a couple issues here and there, gotten hit by some pitches, making some great plays in the outfield that have left him a little injured. But it's just a great roster that the majors have, having so many players batting over 300 at the same time.
And the sample size for Lawrence is rather small this year, especially when you can compare it to someone to Caden Cardoso, almost only a third of his at-bats. Still .394, nearly 400 is extremely impressive. The pitch from Farquharson, this one dropped beautifully. Nasty movement on it, and it will retire Ty Mosher for the second out of the bottom of the 4th.
A couple quick at-bats right now, which is exactly what the Red Sox need. Try and put a bit more pace on this game. Try and speed things up. It's been a tough going so far. Some really extended at-bats from both sides. A lot of big, high pitch counts. So if you're both pitchers, you're just trying to make it quick. Trying to speed things up a little bit, increase the pace of play, and get out of these innings as fast as you can.
So it appears we have a bit of a change in the outfield. Marcus Castillo was moved over to right. Roger Keane in the left. If you recall, Roger Keane came into the game for Cam Gurney. We believe back in the first inning, actually. So a quick exit for him, and hope everything is okay. Fastball inside to Caden Cardoso. Cardoso has gotten on base 2 times today with a walk and a single. He also has a stolen base to his name.
The first one of the runs to come in off that Reichstein 3-run bomb there as well.
He's going to hack this one off. As you said, Justin, that dangerous part of the order that led to the 3-run home run is up now. Cardoso followed by Diolio and Reichstein. But the Red Sox have 2 outs. Only 1 more needed to get out of this 4th. It's going to be chopped directly to the glove of Kieran Bowles. Flipped to first, and the Majors are retired again. Not able to add any further damage to this one. When we come back on Majors TV, the Red Sox look to lessen the lead. You're watching Majors TV with Ty and Justin.
Go beyond the scores and get to know the athletes who call the Forest City home.
Joseph crushes one.
Game Day London brings you in-depth stories and conversations about London's major teams and the athletes. Whether it's in the rink with the Knights or on the field with the Majors, Game Day London has you covered from the start. For fresh and engaging sports coverage, visit GameDayLondon.com, a proud sponsor of Majors TV.
Welcome back, folks, inside Labatt Memorial Park. A beautiful night to spectate some baseball. We have a lot of fans out in that right field hill. And some news in the sports world. As we mentioned, Canada was playing in the 3rd place game tonight. Score against Uruguay is currently 1-1 at halftime. Rodrigo Bentancur scored in the 8th minute for Uruguay, but Ishmael Kone responding for Canada in the 22nd. Producer Nick McVicker very happy about that. Canada, big opportunity tonight, historic night potentially for Canadian sport.
One of those times that you love that Canadian pride coming out, especially for football. I call it football. Many people refer to it as soccer. But it's been incredible to watch and almost a Cinderella story for that Canadian team there.
Definitely. We also have to mention that it is the Rock the Park Music Festival right across the river at the Thames. The Majors, interestingly enough, have a 9-6 all-time record in nights where the Rock the Park game is taking place, since 2010, that is. Tonight's music featuring none other than Bryan Adams, Ryan Doyle, the Sheepdogs, and Odds. A great lineup tonight, and we've seen the last couple days some great performances. Tyler Childers here, Nas, Little John, and Nickelback all making performances this weekend. So what a time to be in London.
Yesterday was a lot of fun, and it was definitely the kind of hip-hop R&B day, and it definitely sent vibrations throughout the entire ballpark. Everyone here at Labatt Memorial Park could hear everything that was going on during Rock the Park this week.
Travis Keys remains on the mound as Gus Wilson checks back in. Wilson will foul this one off. Count should move to 0-2.
Wilson, one of the more patient batters on this Red Sox lineup, currently has 16 walks on the season, which is just an impressive number given the amount of games that these players play on a weekly basis. So very patient. Might be a tough out on this one right now, but Keys definitely has the benefit right now going 0-2.
0-2 swung on, but he got a little piece of it to keep himself alive, Gus Wilson. Wilson 1 for 2 on the day. He singled in his last at bat.
And Keys just hoping to have a sharp outing right now. He's kind of flip-flopped on how he's been so far in the first, the second, the third, and the fourth. Hoping to get back on the right track. But as we saw as of late, it's been a bit tough for him.
Wilson will slap this one right up past second base and records his 24th hit of the year. 25th hit now. This is his second this game, batting .280 on the year.
With that, it's been a pretty tight race between him and Veilleux right now on the season in terms of hits. Both were batting 24 hits on the season coming into today's game. So some fun little competition amongst some teammates right now.
Travis Keyes pitching to Roger Keane, who has relieved Cam Gurney of his duties. First pitch was a strike, 0-1. On the top of the fifth, just about near the halfway point in this one. And plenty of work for the Red Sox to do, down 4-0.
And Keane, again, been pretty consistent when he's in. Again, batting .273 on the season with 6 hits right now. So some very limited play time compared to some others on this roster right now. And he's hoping to make the most of his appearance right here.
Keyes having a good look at first base. Diolio almost made the pick attempt. Cardoso looked like he wanted it in the end. We've seen that many times this year from Eduardo Diolio, one of the best defensive players in the Intercounty Baseball League. It's no secret why he's a 2-time All-Star.
Well, and it's a play that those two practice all the time. Like I said, Diolio really prides himself on his defense, and that throw to first is not a play that many catchers in the league do.
This one is going to touch the bat in a weird position. Got past Travis Keyes. He's going to want that play back. A weird bounce will advance Gus Wilson to second base. And Roger Keane gets on for the first time this evening, sitting at first now.
Yeah, just ended up slipping a little bit on that play, not able to get the ball in his hands. Hopefully he's just all good from it. He looks totally fine, but took a funny little spill right there, right by the mound.
It wasn't quite a bunt. It caught the bat in a weird position, enough so that it threw off Roger Keane himself, but also Travis Keyes, who slipped on the play. He's put in a bad spot, and the dangerous bat of Nick Burdett up now. 1 for 2 today with a walk. Slider in there for a strike. Nice movement on that one from Travis Keyes.
Again, this is one of those times that the Red Sox really need to try and capitalize on right now. Having 2 men on with one of their more power guys in Burdett up to the plate. This, I think, will be one of the kind of definitive innings in this game right now if the Red Sox are able to capitalize.
This ball inside, count at 1-1.
And I've been saying that the Red Sox and Keyes in particular should actually be trying to pitch right into the strike zone on some of these plays. But with Burdett, one of the power guys, 2 potential RBIs on right now, might almost be safe pitching around him, trying to get him to strike out.
This pitch from Keyes marks the 80th of his outing to Nick Burdett. He's running high, certainly. Only the 5th inning at 80 pitches. He's had a lot of big innings, including 22 innings pitched back in the second. Farquharsen's also had his fair share of those in this game. So both the pitchers have had their hands full this evening.
I think Keyes will end up pitching a little bit down in the zone, trying to induce a double play right here.
Beautiful movement on that one. Draws the strikeout for Travis Keyes, his 4th of the evening. Nasty movement, traveled all the way across the plate. A slider going down and away. The swing from Nick Burdett was way too late and not in the correct position. So the first person is sat down for the Red Sox in this 5th inning, but they still have 2 men on, Justin.
Well, that's a little glimmer that Keyes needs right now. That's almost what he needs to take motivation from right now is in some instances he could be 1 pitch away from getting a double play, getting out of this inning after starting with 2 men on. It might help ease him down a little bit right now.
This ball is swung on. He chops it and falls forward, Jeremy Veilleux. As you mentioned, has a lot of hits, 24 to his name entering this evening.
One of those tough ones. It looked like it almost might have hit him, which is why he went down right there, which is why he's taking a quick little walk around, trying to compose himself. It looks like he's all good, but man, can that hurt. It's coming off
comfortable.
Either way, it's coming off the bat. Whether it hits the ground and then it hits you, it's still a really fast ball with a lot of momentum. Getting even half that speed on the ankle will really take a lot out of you.
Well, it's not often that a pitch will drop someone to their knees. But Veilleux was caught awkwardly there, so he took a tumble. Well, good for him. He's got a favorable position. Only 1 out and 2 men on for his Red Sox.
If you're Veilleux right now, you just want to get contact on the ball. 1 little bloop out to the outfield will probably score a run here and get your team on the board.
Just need to get anything past this London Majors infield. A player is going to go. Diolio looking for the pickoff. It's in time. The Majors get the second out of the fifth inning off the terrific toss from Eduardo Diolio over to the third baseman Victor Plaz. And we've seen that all season long from the prolific All-Star.
Diolio is one of the players I have the most fun watching at every single ball game he's in. He might not be the great in terms of batting on any given game. He might be hitting home runs left and right, but his defense behind the plate is incredibly entertaining, not just for us here in the booth, but everyone here at Labatt Memorial Park as well.
So Diolio not only gets out Gus Wilson on the play, but takes a player out of scoring position for the Brantford Red Sox. Tough night for them facing Eduardo Diolio. Wasn't going to let that fly.
Well, it's a tough one. It's a tough break. It's an incredibly difficult task, stealing a base, not just when it comes to getting from first to second, but getting from second to third is incredibly difficult. There's a lot less ground for the catcher to have to make up on that throw compared to a throw to second. So it's a tough play. You have to be incredibly quick, and Diolio's arm is just too good to be trying something like that.
The defensive IQ is off the charts, and he timed it perfectly.
The full count here. Keys almost just one pitch from getting out of this right now.
Bit of technical difficulties there, but it is a full count in the end. It's going to be a ball against Travis Keys. It's going to walk Jeremy Villieux, and Stephen Whalen's going to step back up now. So two players back on again for the Red Sox. They have an opportunity to still do something here, but a bit tougher with 2 outs for Whalen.
Do you think they try and steal third here again on that?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's a smart move with 2 outs. Especially when you're already behind 4 in this ball game, you just need a good hit. You need to rely on your hitters here. Had a tough time doing that this season, obviously.
When I understand the thought process for the Red Sox, it's one of those times where you're trying to manufacture plays in a way. You're trying to advance your runners in any way, shape, or form. So if it's been tough to just get runs on the board right now, sometimes that's when you got to default to your base running a smidge.
So a pinch hitter in for the Red Sox, and that one will drop for a hit. Potentially going to come around to score, but a beautiful throw in the outfield from Brad Verhoeven. Got there in time to Diolio. The bases are loaded, but the pinch hit was good in the end. We're going to get a name for you shortly. I believe it was number 29, Lucas Bateman. Lucas Bateman taking the place of Stephen Whalen. The pinch hitter worked out in the end, but it's really too bad for the Red Sox. Not able to capitalize off that opportunity. The booming throw from Brad Verhoeven was right on the money to take out any sort of play at the plate. The Red Sox, for the third time this evening, have bases loaded. This pitch in there from Keys is a strike inside.
Well, that was one of those times where the players almost looked a little caught off guard that they weren't advancing either, held by their third base coach right now, trying to keep them on, trying to play some safe ball right here, right now. You can't really risk a whole lot when you're down 4-0 in a game.
This ball from Keys, high and inside, it's going to be called for a strike, and Kieran Bowles really doesn't like that one, talking things over with the umpire.
It's always tough to end up calling the pitches. It did look like it was almost a little bit outside, high and in on that one. So definitely going in Keys' favor right here.
Oh, 2 Keys looking for his 5th strikeout of the evening. This one in the dirt. 1 and 2 would come at a crucial time. Roger Keane sitting in scoring position at third. And Brantford already 0 for 2 this evening when bases are loaded. Will it be over 3, or will they finally be able to get on the scoreboard? The 1-2 from Keys.
This feels like deja vu.
Certainly feels like deja vu, Justin. It's fouled off. Count remains.
Yeah, Keys, I think it all comes down to his consistency right now. This isn't the only time that we've seen runners on, and especially a potential bases-loaded situation right now for the Red Sox. Keys hoping to do what he's been doing and getting that third out when he needs it, but it's been tough that these situations have been having in the first place for him.
The 1-2 from Keys. Dangerously close to a strike there. No call in the end from the umpire. Similar pitch was called for a strike earlier in this at-bat. Count it 2-2, though, with 2 outs. Kieran Bowles very much still alive. The toss from Keys. Outside of the zone, another one that looked to be close. Everyone anticipating the call of the umpire, everyone waiting. Nothing called except a ball. Count at full.
When you could see Teolio really wanted that one. He held that pitch up for an extra little second, trying to frame that for the umpire there, but just not able to get the call in their favor here.
The full count and 26th pitch of this inning for Travis Keys. Runners going, strike. No strike in the end. It looked like from the reaction it definitely could have been, but the first run of the game for the Red Sox finally going to get in there. A number 14, Roger Keane, and a walk against Travis Keys. So unfortunate timing for him. But the Red Sox move within 3.
Again, the Majors thought they had that one. Definitely framed that up for even longer than they did the previous pitch, trying to get that one in their favor, but just not able to get it, and Brantford is on the board.
Definitely looked like it could have been called a strike. Cochran will call one there. Count it 0-1 to Vapehav Desai. 1 for 2 with a walk.
Again, the designated hitter batting .203 on the season right now.
Another strike towards Keys. So no matter what happens, finally, in the third time that bases are loaded for the Red Sox, they're able to make something out of it.
And that particular pitch is the exact one that Keys needs to get going in his favor to try and set up some of his other pitches.
Damage not quite over with yet. This one called the ball. Another close one that Steve Cochran is not going to call for the Majors.
In a tough situation, we're starting to see some movement in the Majors bullpen right now.
Get a name for you shortly. This one in the dirt. Count it 2-2. And Keys has to be careful. Looks like Jonathan Henry will be warming up in the bullpen.
So we'll see how this ends up shaping up in the next inning here, but it definitely doesn't look like Keys is going to be in the game terribly long. Just has not been incredibly efficient so far this outing compared to others that he's had.
The pitch from Keys, swung on, strike 3 called. And my goodness, Travis Keys sits down the side. Again, it could have been a lot worse for the Majors. Only one against them in the end. And again, the Red Sox are retired with bases loaded.
Again, the scoreboard definitely looks like a different game than it actually is, with Brantford sitting with 6 hits compared to the Majors 4, but the Majors sitting ahead 4-1. And it just comes down to the pitching that we've seen so far in both these contests, the amount of the amount of players that we've had left on the base paths in this one. Both the Red Sox and the Majors have been doing it consistently, and the Red Sox, more notably, that's the second time at least now that we've had a bases-loaded situation to end an inning.
So we'll see how that shakes things up defensively for the Red Sox as they've had a change. Obviously, Lucas, I believe, they have a couple changes. We'll get a number for you shortly to make sure. Lucas Bateman, I believe, was the player who came back in as a replacement, wearing number 29. We'll see where he ends up. Travis Keys sitting at 99 pitches this evening, 5 strikeouts though, and 81 pitches so far for Farquharson. The Majors trying to add to their tally right now, and we do have a defensive shakeup. So it looks like at third base, it's going to be Lucas Bateman, wearing number 29 for the Red Sox. And they have to show out defensively now. It's going to be hard to add runs for the team. It's going to be even harder to stop the Majors, who have already been fairly hot tonight, Justin.
They have indeed. The Majors have really gotten on a good tear to get the game going with that 3-run bomb over in the third. They're hoping to keep it running so far right now. They've had a couple tough innings of 3-up, 3-down situations so far in the game. So they're hoping to get a little bit more consistency from the bats as the game progresses. But sitting with a 4-1 lead is definitely the situation where you can try and get that done with.
So here's Eduardo De Olio back in now for the Majors. 1 for 2 today with a walk. One of those runs that was scored in the Byron Reichstein 3-run homer. Farquharson's 82nd pitch is fouled off, took a dangerous bounce off the Majors bullpen and near some fans sitting directly field side. Ballboy gets it in the end, though, Justin.
Yeah, ends up going right back into the field. Not a souvenir for anyone, unfortunately, there.
Pitch from Farquharson, swung on by De Olio. He's down 0-2 quickly in the bottom of the 5th.
De Olio's just hoping to get some contact, find a way to get on first. It's definitely the part of the order that really has a whole ton of power with De Olio, Reichstein, and Brownlee set up.
De Olio will plop this one to third base. Our first look defensively at Lucas Bateman. And a strong throw all the way across the infield to record the first out against Eduardo De Olio.
And a good routine play, a good efficient at-bat right there for the Red Sox, which is what they're looking for to get De Olio out. Now they get set up for a batter who usually is a bit tougher to get out on that front. Usually a lot more plate discipline coming from Reichstein here. So we'll see how it continues into this at-bat.
We'll see indeed after that 3-run homer.
And a pitch way down out of the zone, not even slightly competitive on that one. Right hit in the dirt. A consistency that we've seen for pretty much the entire game here so far from the Red Sox.
Farquharson's toss outside. Count at 1-1 now. And it appears we do have a pitcher for the Red Sox, or pitchers, at least walking around in their bullpen. Fastball inside to Reichstein. Count at 3-0.
And Reichstein showing some good patience right now up at the plate. Getting into a 3-0 situation here.
This toss in there for a strike. Count moves to 3-1.
Great pitch. Pretty much dotted the corner down on that one. And some good movement as well to get it kind of go down and away from Byron right there.
This toss high and upstairs. Potential check swing. You didn't go, says the umpire. So it's going to be a walk in the end for Byron Reichstein. So a homer followed by a walk for that man who's been hot tonight.
Just been stellar, and the exact thing that they need right now to try and keep the momentum going in their favor. Slightly shifted towards the Red Sox there with the bases loaded, them able to drive in a run. The Majors hoping to battle right back, exactly get to the position where they were in. And right now, Cleveland Brownlee is set up to do just that.
Couple arms tossing for the Red Sox as the 100th pitch of the night, the 90th pitch of the night for Farquharson is inside for a ball. And he's definitely had his hands full with an incredible Majors offense. It made him pay. Reichstein will go. Was definitely behind in that run. Didn't time it quite well. And it's a cat and mouse game. He will be tagged, though, by Kieran Bowles. And rather unnecessary out in the end there for the Majors. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, and it definitely looked like Reichstein knew what was going to happen on his way to second. You could see him slow right down, get into that rundown situation, which is not exactly ideal. Was just a late break. Didn't quite have enough speed to get to the bag. And the Majors facing the consequences of that right now. So we've seen some pitching trouble and some base running trouble in a way from both teams as well, with the Red Sox having that one similar situation, trying to steal third from second. The Majors now get thrown out trying to go from first to second.
Cleveland Brownlee at the plate. This one inside for another strike. Count it 2-2.
Brownlee has not liked some of these calls, not going in his favor so far tonight. Had a similar reaction earlier in the game, and it's another one that doesn't go his way.
Big Cleve has struck out and grounded out. His second strikeout of the evening. Wants that one back. You can tell by his reaction. Will retire the Majors side and end things in the 5th inning. So the Brantford Red Sox crawling back a little bit. Now only a 3-run lead for the Majors, 4-1. More when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We're live at Labatt Memorial Park, and you're watching Majors TV.
When you need a night out, Throw London is on point. With an atmosphere that's a cut above, Throw London brings together the best in knife throwing, axe throwing, and darts. So it's the perfect spot for a date night, night out with friends, leagues, and team building for the office. You've got to be 13 or older to throw pointy objects and 19 plus to enjoy their fully licensed offerings. It's the best spot in London for some fun with an edge. London's original knife throwing. Check them out at 2190 Dundas Street East and online at ithrow.ca. That's ITHROW.ca.
Welcome back, folks. Inside Labatt Memorial Park, the London Majors currently leading the Brantford Red Sox by a score of 4-1. And we have a pitching change. All pitching changes are presented by Throw. London's original knife throwing, and Ro Chanderdat gives the nod to Jonathan Henry to relieve the duties of Travis Keys.
Jonathan Henry's had a pretty good year so far as a 3.21 ERA, giving up 15 hits, 7 runs, and 5 earned runs. He's given up only 6 walks, but struck out double that with 12. So some great numbers, hoping to keep that going into today's game as well. And getting the reins from Travis Keys, who had a bit of an inconsistent outing, to say the least, in today's game.
A little inconsistent and uncharacteristic for such a fantastic player in himself. Allowed the Red Sox to get bases loaded 3 separate times.
So Jonathan Henry will hope to improve things right now. Generally pretty good at limiting opponents getting on base right now with a .259 opponent's batting average. But he does give up his fair share of hits. Right now he's got a whip of 1.5 right now. So not terrible, but still not great, not incredibly elite in that exact regard. But he's hoping to improve his numbers, and still plenty of season to do that in as well.
So there's the first strike of the evening for Jonathan Henry. Ethan Paulos in there for the Red Sox. The bottom of the order. This one hit directly into the direction of Ty Mosher. Makes the throw. It's a tough call in the end from the first base umpire. Could have been safe. Could have definitely been out, but it will be a single in the end for Ethan Paulos. A long throw. Seemed to be on time from Ty Mosher, but just didn't get that one.
On a pretty close play. Impressive from both ends. Not only the speed getting to first base, but turning around the play there to try and attempt the out at first. And you could see Cardoso kind of sit back. Definitely thought he got the out, but didn't go his way.
Takahito Matsuda favoring Ethan Paulos there. The toss from Henry. This one high and inside, gets that corner against Marcus Castillo. Castillo 0 for 4, has flown out 4 separate times. Or 3 separate times, I should say, 0 for 3. This being his 4th at bat and the top of the Red Sox order. He's going to foul this one off towards the Majors bullpen. 0-2 is the count.
Again, hoping to get something rolling. The Red Sox have been very good at getting some players on right off the get-go from an inning. Just not incredibly great in terms of collecting those runs towards the tail end of it. So they're hoping to change that here, and they're off to the right foot with a man on first.
Toss from Henry. DeOlio thought about another throw over to Cardoso. Doesn't make this one. But it will strike out Marcus Castillo. 0 for 4 on the day. The first strikeout for Jonathan Henry.
Well, these are one of those instances that really end up being a bit of a mind game between the catcher and the men on base. Even though he didn't attempt the throw right there, the fact that he could have and the fact that he had to force the runner back over to first will stick in his head and the heads of the rest of the team as well, maybe potentially holding them back from some of these stolen base opportunities.
This ball is called for a strike by the umpire against Gus Wilson. It was a check swing he turned too far on.
Yeah, wasn't quite able to hold back far enough on that one.
He's gotten on base in his last 2 at-bats and is 2 for 3 on the day. He's going to pop this one into the direction. It's going to go just foul from Victor Plaza's direction. Not able to make that throw in the end, but it was close.
Just foul. Barely ended up passing over there, so pretty close. Would have been a tough play. They probably would have liked to have turned 2, but I probably would have just settled for a throw over to first to get that out. But it gives them another potential chance to get a double play here with it going foul.
Ethan Palos still on first base and only 1 out against the Red Sox. In the top of this 6th, this one is for a strike, and back-to-back strikeouts at the top of the order now for Jonathan Henry. Sitting down Gus Wilson.
Pitch was right down in the zone. Deolio had to hold up his glove to actually show the umpire that, yes, he did indeed have it in his glove and didn't have to try and make that throw over to first.
Roger Keane back now in his first at-bat of the game. The second at-bat of the game. He got a single. And he's taken over at left field in this one for the Red Sox. First pitch is a strike, counted 0-1.
Keane right now 1 for 3 with that 1 for 2 with that hit that he had. Ended up kind of blooping forward, able to turn it into a hit. Ended up coming around to be the 1 run that they have on the board.
That one fouled back in our direction. Counted 0-2 with 2 outs. The toss from Henry. The runner will go in the end. Deolio doesn't attempt the throw. Would have been a tough play to make in the end against Ethan Palos. Palos reaches second, though.
Looked like Deolio might not have just had the proper grip on the ball immediately coming out from it. Was right there position-wise, but the momentum might have actually carried it a bit out of the position that he was hoping for to try and make that throw. And it's better to be safe than sorry in those instances.
Especially with 2 outs, the Majors can afford to play it safe. They also have that 3-run lead.
But now an opportunity for Keane here to try and drive in a run.
Looking for his 3rd strikeout of the evening, Jonathan Henry. Henry's toss. Strike 3 called. 3 strikeouts in his first outing on the rubber for Jonathan Henry. Sits down the Red Sox side, and they don't add anything to their tally. Henry helps to keep the Majors lead at 3.
Well, and just impressive. That's exactly what you want. Might have started off a little funny given that hit over to Palos, but immediately then shut them down with those 3 strikeouts. Impressive numbers, an impressive start for Jonathan Henry.
Great job from Jonathan Henry to come in. It appears as though Gregor Farquharson is still on the mound, so no change yet for the man who is nearing 100 pitches on the evening in the 6th. Fair bit of cheering around Labatt Memorial Park. A decent turnout for a very moggy Saturday evening.
Oh, yeah, it has been just brutal up here in the press box. With we don't really get a whole lot of breeze up here as well, so when it's one of these hot, humid, muggy days, we run through water bottles incredibly quick, to say the least, up here.
Oh, we are. The fridge is getting very low in supply. And between, I believe, all 3 of us up here in the broadcast booth and technical director Cal, we've got through about 10, 11 water bottles.
That's the stat line we need to keep track of in a game, is the number of water bottles per player.
So we're getting a refill on water over here, which would be absolutely lovely. We're running very low when it's a very hot day. Also, a special shout-out. Now is the time to mention Dylan Baker's name, who is tonight's public address announcer. Not his usual duties, and he's been pretty crisp so far, I have to say, from here.
Oh, absolutely blends in with the regular voice. Been absolute standout performance here from Dylan Baker at the ballpark today.
Our Uber Eats water deliveries come directly on time, and a much-needed one as well. Like to help each other out here. The staff over at the Labatt Memorial Park for the London Majors. And have a bit of fun as this one's plopped off the bat of Victor Plaz. Will reach Farquharson. A bit of miscommunication in the end. He's going to be out. But it was close, though. It looks like he was going to make the tag at first, but left it, Justin, and ended up just tagging the bag himself. and it was just in time, but Victor Plaz was close.
That's realistically a play that should not have been that close. Bit of miscommunication, as you mentioned, between the two on who was actually going to cover first base, and that's one of those times where those little dribblers down the line can really cause some confusion and some mayhem for the defense, and it almost bit them right there in that one.
Definitely close, but a ground out in the end, so that's back-to-back ground outs for Victor Plaz. Brad Verhoeven on a double with 2 outs against the Majors in his last outing. Looking to add more to that tally here, but the Majors already have 1 down in the bottom of the 6th. The toss from Farquharson is low. Count at 2-0 now.
Looked pretty close on that pitch. That could have gone either way. Might have been a borderline down. Pretty good positioning on it. Just not going in their way, but I like the thought process coming from him on that one.
98th pitch is high and upstairs from Farquharson. Just inching closer and closer towards that 100 mark. Odd sequence, a bunch of players standing up in the Red Sox bullpen area as a walk for Brad Verhoeven. Brad Verhoeven has made it to base all 3 times tonight. 2 walks and a double to his name. He's having quite an evening.
What a great showing, making the most of his limited play time that he's had so far. And the fact that he's gotten on base every single time is always an incredible vote and an incredible confidence booster for Ro Chanderdat in terms of how he wants to construct these lineups, and especially dealing with some of the lingering injuries that this Majors roster has had to deal with. It gives them confidence that they're able to just slip him in whenever they need him.
And he's having a fantastic outing in this one. The 100th pit to Champ Gardner is a strike. So officially, Gregor Farquharson is well over 100. 2 starting pitchers combining for well over 180 pitches this evening.
For
reference, 5 innings.
For reference for everyone at home, your average pitcher, what would be considered a good inning would be around 15 pitches. That's kind of what you're aiming for. Naturally, any less than that is beneficial. Any more than that gets a little bit tough. But these pitchers have been going well above that number so far in this game in terms of pitches per inning, and it's really been some of their detriment. Like everything, you can see the thought process coming from these pitchers and what they're trying to do. For example, for Farquharson, you're seeing a lot of up and down with how he's pitching. And sometimes it pays off.
It does pay off. A fastball inside got Champ Gardner looking. And he's going to strike out back-to-back at bats now. The Majors have 2 outs against them, with Gibson Krasminski checking back in at the top of the order, but not before the staff is going to have a talk with Farquharson.
A good outing, and you can definitely, like I mentioned, see the thought process. He's a very up-and-down pitcher, which is exactly why you've seen some pitches go way up and out of the zone. And then immediately the next pitch will be one that goes down and out of the zone on that front. You can see him trying to get in the middle, but it just comes down to where these pitchers are trying to locate and how they kind of cater to their stuff, their pitch repertoire as well. So a bit too far extreme in either direction, but you can see the thought process coming from them.
Live update in the Copa America third-place match. Potentially Canadian history. Jonathan David has just added on to the tally against Uruguay. Canada leading 2-1 in the 80th minute. How exciting of a tournament have we seen in both the Copa America and the European Soccer Championships, football championships, depending who you ask.
Well, it's always tough, especially with both tournaments running at the same exact time.
Yes.
Naturally, the games aren't often running at the exact same times, but it really splits a lot of the viewership between the Euro and the Copa. So it's been interesting, but it's been incredibly exciting watching so much global football going on right now in the world.
Definitely has. Krasminski looking for a potential bunt there, but will be able to float by him.
It makes my day nice because I'll usually get a bit of football in the day, some majors in the evening, and I've benefited over the past couple days with the Blue Jays having some late evening games. So I'll be able to catch a bit of that once today's game wraps up as well.
On the road trip in Arizona, as we mentioned, Barry Baycats and Welland is finished, and the Baycats have defeated the Welland Jackfish by a score of 6-5. It's a matchup between the first and second place teams in the IBL right now.
It's a very tough one, especially with the Baycats. The Majors have been right on their heels this entire season. It's been a very much a battle of consistencies between those two teams. The fact that they came up with a win against Welland is incredibly impressive.
This one is cranked back. It's going to get through the glove of Ethan Paulos. Around now, potentially to score for the Majors. Brad Verhoeven safe at home. London increased their lead to 5-1 over the Red Sox, and it's an RBI double for Gibson Kresminski.
Just an unfortunate misread from the center fielder there. You can see him inching back further and further and further, and usually at a certain point when they're moving that slow, not quite hustling to get to their location, you'd think they'd have a good enough read to be able to stop at some point to get the ball in their hands, but was consistently moving and just didn't get a good read on the ball, and that ended up just going right past him out towards the wall. The Majors, again, benefiting from some nice plays here.
So at 108 pitches total for the evening, Gregor Farquharson is finally retired. And we're going to have a new arm on the mound. All pitching changes are presented by Throw, London's original knife throwing. And I believe it's number 20, Norm Coleman Goodwin. Confirm that shortly, and it appears it definitely is. Right-handed side armor from Belrose, New York. A former United States Marine, Justin.
Incredibly impressive, and so far on the season, it's been left a little bit to be desired in comparison. Right now he has a 6.30 ERA on the season, so a little bit to be desired there. So far he's given up 15 hits, 11 runs, and 7 of them earned right now, giving up 2 walks, which is at least in his benefit compared to only the 5 strikeouts so far. So hasn't pitched a whole ton, only 10 innings, which have kind of contributed to his higher numbers in terms of ERA. And now is a good opportunity to try and improve that against the Majors right here today.
And you really got to give full credit to the Majors offense, tiring out Farquharson, sitting him down in the 6th inning of play after 108 pitches, running extremely high. So great at-bats from the Majors have helped them definitely on the scoreboard, and now finally a new pitcher in for the Red Sox.
Well, it still says a lot to Farquharson, the fact that he's only given up 1 run since the 3rd, still managing to go well into the 6th here today. Even with the amount of pitch counts, the amount of stamina on such a hot day like today, too, shows a lot of the athleticism of these pitchers, too. So not quite the outing he was looking for, but still impressive that he stuck around as long as he did in today's matchup.
You're absolutely right, Justin. To Farquharson's credit, apart from that bomb from Reichstein, he's pitched a fairly respectable game.
Might be a little bit kind of messier, for lack of a better term, than he would be looking for.
Yes.
But just a bit unlucky on that Reichstein bomb there. Be a whole different game without that here.
So the RBI double from Kresminski. So it's down Farquharson, and we get our first look at Coleman Goodwin. Ty Mosher back at the plate. 0 for 3 on the day. First pitch from Coleman Goodwin outside for ball 1.
Runner in scoring position. He'd like his first hit of the day right now. He's gotten a bit unlucky on a couple of his at-bats so far, hitting them right to some of the fielders. Hoping to turn that around right here.
The toss. Fastball going to get in there for strike 2. Still 2 outs, though, so a lot of outs here for the Red Sox, the bottom of the 6th.
It's a good pitch right there, and it didn't look like Mosher was going to turn on it. Trying to get a read for this pitcher a little bit since he just got going.
The sidearm pitch, too low. Count it 2-1 to Ty Mosher. And you mentioned Mosher's got a little bit unlucky today with some of the calls against him, but a player who is prone to getting on base. It's a bit of an uncharacteristic night for him thus far. Sidearm toss is way outside to catcher Jeremy Villieu.
When you think it's tough when a reliever comes in, having a shift from the pitches that are coming at you, the style that's coming at you, and it's then even more so when it's a sidearmer who comes in, because some of these pitches, especially if it's a fastball, might look like they're going up in the strike zone there, which is incredibly irregular to see from a batter's perspective.
This one is going to hit the back of Ty Mosher. A little bit disappointed there. Obviously not intentional from Coleman Goodwin, but Ty Mosher reaches first, and 2 men are on now for London in the bottom of the 6th.
Again, those ones hurt, to say the least. Yeah. Getting it right on the back, there's a lot more muscle in some areas, so there could be some worse places to get hit, but it still doesn't change the fact that it's quite a fastball. It didn't look like it was an off-speed at all, so coming in pretty hot. He's on base, but again, he'd like some better ways to get on base in general.
Caden Cardoso 2 for 3, a walk, a single, as well as a stolen base in this one. That ball outside called for a strike. Brantford still have 2 outs to work with.
Cardoso loves seeing runners in scoring position. Gives him a great opportunity here.
The 20-game hit streak man will crank one. A tough ball in the end. The diving play on his knees, not in time to get Caden Cardoso at first. He's hobbling a bit, has to be careful. Perhaps an awkward step on the base. Kieran Bowles had a tough play to make. Nice job to slide down on the knee to record the ball and not get it past him any further. Throw not quite in time, though. Cardoso too speedy. And the Majors have bases loaded.
Cardoso is one of those players that are a bit deceiving. Usually when you have a first baseman that hits for as much power as he does, with as good of contact as he does, they're usually not as quick. They usually substitute kind of in one of those major categories. Often speed for first basemen and catchers, but he's incredibly quick on the base pass, which is very deceiving, and he's able to leg that out to turn it into a hit right there.
DeOlio with a lot to work with here. Sidearm fastball down the middle for strike 1. The Majors with a lot of players on now. Cardoso on first, Ty Mosher on second after that hit by pitch, and Gibson Kresminski on third after his RBI double. This one will make it out to right field, unfortunately for the Majors, and DeOlio directly into the glove of Marcus Castillo. And finally, the Majors side is retired, but not before they add 1 to their tally. They're back up by a margin of 4, leading 5-1 over Brantford. Don't go anywhere, you're watching Majors TV.
Welcome to Labatt Park in London, Ontario, the world's oldest baseball grounds. Now through Labor Day, book your guided tour and walk the same field as Ty Cobb, Fergie Jenkins, Honus Wagner, and some of baseball's most legendary players. View artifacts from over the years inside the original 1940 clubhouse. Experience baseball history in London, Ontario. Book your guided tour at labattparktours.ca. When you need a night out, Throw London is on point. With an atmosphere that's a cut above, Throw London brings together the best in knife throwing, axe throwing, and darts. So it's the perfect spot for a date night, night out with friends, leagues, and team building for the office. You've got to be 13 or older to throw pointy objects and 19 plus to enjoy their fully licensed offerings. It's the best spot in London for some fun with an edge. London's original knife throwing. Check them out at 2190 Dundas Street East and online at ithrow.ca. That's ITHROW.ca.
We're live inside Labatt Memorial Park. The London Majors added another 1 to their tally off an RBI double coming off the bat of Gibson Kresminski to help score Brad Verhoeven at home. Majors leading 5-1. Pretty good ballpark and a active chat tonight in the YouTube live stream.
Yeah, we always like to give a shout-out to everyone who turns out to the ballpark in person, but of course we have to give a great shout-out to everyone who watches live on the stream as well. One of the comments here says, what's the approximate crowd size tonight? It's always tough to gauge. I'm not incredibly good with counting heads, not one of my specialties, but I'd say a few hundred here at Labatt today. Still a good turnout, especially with things like Rock the Park going on, some incredible events going on across London. Still always great to have the turnout that the stadium, the ballpark, does here at Labatt Memorial Park.
As tequila rings around the speakers of Labatt Memorial Park, a potent night for music all around London. A famous city for music in Ontario and all across Canada.
And yeah, and London was actually the first ever city to get the designation of a UNESCO City of Music, so it's incredibly interesting. And there's plenty of music-based events in town as one is grounded over to second base there, thrown over to first. A quick out for the Red Sox, for the Majors right here to get it going.
What a call from you there, Justin. Grounding out there in the end, the bat of Nick Burdett. Very good bat, too, for the Red Sox side, but unfortunately not able to just get really hold of anything tonight.
Well, it's a tough one, tough positioning. The Red Sox have really benefited off shooting them up the middle. He ended up getting the ball a little too close towards the second baseman. They were able to make a quick play, throw it over to first. So just a tough spot for Burdett right there.
Unfortunate news for Canadian soccer fans as we continuously check back in Uruguay has tied the game at 2 apiece going into extra time now, I believe. The goal coming from the famous Luis Suarez, one of the most prolific strikers of the modern generation. Spent time with Liverpool, Barcelona, all across, now a member of Inter Miami, of course, alongside Lionel Messi. This ball way outside, excuse me, Justin, for a ball.
I like to think that it's a general trend that Canadian sports like to leave you on your toes and gasping for air at every moment that you can, not just in football and soccer, but across the board, especially with things like the Olympics coming up. I'm sure we're going to get a good amount of that in the close horizon as well.
And they're for a strike now from Jonathan Henry. This is his second outing on the rubber. And it's the top of the 7th here. Count it 2-2.
Henry's incredibly impressed so far. Gotten either soft contact or a lot of strikeouts right now. And
this one is going to be belted back and a home run all the way around. A solo home run for Jeremy Villiers. His 25th hit of the season. Right up there at the top with all the rest of his Red Sox. And a very important bomb, unfortunately for him. No one else was on base, but a deep shot taking Jonathan Henry back.
You know, Villiers really just wanted to make me eat my words right there. I was just talking about soft contact, and he wanted to prove me wrong right there. So impressive hit, very well hit, and pretty much a no-doubter. You could kind of see the exact arc of it going right over the fence, even from over here. So good job to try and get a run on the board. And now it's only 3 runs between the Red Sox and the Majors here.
So batting here is number 29, Lucas Bateman, who came into the game as a replacement player for the Red Sox. Margin back at 3 in favor of the Red Sox, in favor of the Majors, I should say. Still some work to do. Majors not out of the woods yet. That fastball in there for a strike. Count at 1-2.
Well, still a lot of ground to make up, but all said and done, there have been quite a lot of base runners so far in this game from both sides. So any time that they can close in that margin, they'll be happy about, because they've had the batters to try and do that.
This one is slapped right into the glove of Champ Gardner. He closed in, made that run immediately, and an important run to record the second out of the inning.
Well, and Champ always makes it look so easy. He is arguably one of the fastest players on this team, and that's exactly what he was brought in for, was his incredible contact and his speed. And that's one of the most important things when it comes to being a center fielder, is there's a ton of ground to cover all across. Not only just covering your ground, but then covering your left and your right fielder as well. So it's tough, and it's the exact position that you need a bit of speed from, and Champ fits that description perfectly.
A nice play by Garner in the end. Now Kieran Bowles back at the plate for the Red Sox. He's going to take a hack at this one. Bouncing ball reaches Victor Plaz. The long throw, perfect placement over to Caden Cardoso, and the Majors retire the side. Still leading 5-2.
So still give up 1 run in that one. At the end of the day, it was still a productive inning for Brantford. They probably would have wanted a little bit more given how they've been hitting so far in this game, loading up the bases a few times. But London's happy to just give up the one hit there. And when you have a margin going into the inning of 4 runs, giving up 1 run is not terribly consequential at all.
At this time in the evening, we'd like to thank Through Thick and Thin Pizza for feeding our broadcast crew. Really, really tasty pies coming from there. I think you made the pickup today, Justin.
I did indeed. It's incredible pizza. It's one of those ones where it doesn't have an incredibly thick crust, but thin, but still kind of chewy in your mouth too. Not too bad. It's incredible pizza. If anyone hasn't been able to make the trip out there, definitely worth a try for sure. And it definitely lifts our spirits every time we're here at the ballpark having some nice pizza.
The T-shirt toss going on inside Labatt Memorial Park. We're trying to get a shirt up here. Apparently only water bottles is what we're getting tonight.
You know, people think us broadcasters really live the high life up in here, but the fact that we can't get any of these shirts or any of this cool stuff is sometimes a little sad. You know, it's a little tough.
As we hear the Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond's voice ringing around the stadium, as the concert, no doubt, heating up at Rock the Park. Right across the Thames,
I've actually really gotten to benefit from Rock the Park this year. I live not too far away from the Labatt Brewery here in town. So I have heard every single act, every single show all week long. I think it was Nickelback in particular back on Wednesday's performance. I could hear the whole time. I had to get up from my couch and be like, what is that noise? What is happening right now?
Yeah.
And it was just Rock the Park.
Where tickets are nearing the $70 range, $70, $80 range. So pretty good bargain if you're around London to come see some great music.
Well, there's lots of places to check out for free. You'll see a lot of people over on the bridge just passing over the Thames, just kind of hunkered down over there to try and get in some of the concert there as well. So a great London event here in town every year.
Second outing on the mound for Norm Coleman Goodwin. This ball's fouled off by the home run man, Byron Reichstein.
Well, he's hoping to keep doing what he was doing. He ended up having a tough start, but getting that last out that he needed to close out the inning, and a tough first at-bat against Byron Reichstein here.
That one looked to be close. Definitely an ambiguous call there. The umpire's going to give Reichstein the favor.
Definitely could have gone either way. Another one of those borderline pitches, but Byron will take it. I'm sure he's happy with that call.
This one in the dirt, count at 2-1 now. Reichstein, a really, really clean hit, homered out to right field, scoring himself, Cardoso, and DeOlio.
And usually, actually, on the seasons, Reichstein's not as patient as he is this particular season. He ended up kind of struggling in terms of power to get the season going. And talking with him, he actually said a lot of what he's been doing is actually slowing things down, going into each at-bat with a little bit more pace, and kind of waiting on some of these balls to come to him so that he can actually end up cranking the ones that are right in his zone.
The 3-1 to Byron Reichstein. Outside, ball 4 is called. And once again, Byron Reichstein reaching base with a walk.
A patient guy, and that just goes to show his years and years of experience in this league. One of the veterans on the team, along with Cleveland Brownlee.
He has now made base in his last 3 at-bats. Obviously that 3-run homer, and then back-to-back walks for Byron Reichstein. Cleveland Brownlee, on the other hand, 0 for 3 this evening. Looking to get on the board after a hot performance, stretch performance, as you mentioned, hitting .500 in the clump of a couple games. Trying to get back to his offensive ways. This one inside for a strike. A nice toss from Coleman Goodwin.
Well, and it's been a tough go for him so far, and he's definitely one of those players who look a lot inward. You won't see it very much on the outside since he's a very optimistic, kind of outgoing guy, but you can definitely see he wants a bit more improvement on his season, especially getting into some of the later years that he sees in being in the IBL.
You mentioned time and time again, a real fan favorite here around Labatt Memorial Park, one of the friendliest people you'll meet. Cleveland Brownlee, he's going to chop this one directly to the shortstop. Wilson all the way across. A delicious throw in the end on time to punch out Cleveland Brownlee.
Good positioning on that play, and inducing the double play right there is exactly what you're trying to go for. And suddenly you go from no outs to 2 outs and no man on as well. So that's exactly what the Red Sox are hoping to get out from an at-bat like that.
So back in steps the man who scored the first run of the game to get things started, Victor Plaz. 1 for 3 with a single.
And Plaz, another one of the fun guys, always saying hey, always saying hello. That's been the general consistency from a lot of this Majors roster. Incredibly nice guys, incredibly friendly, and incredibly humble across the board. You don't see too many egos or confidence across the board from these guys. Everyone's looking as a team. Everyone has that as the perspective, and everyone has the overall success as their number one goal for this team.
You mentioned a guy who loves to say hey, can say hey in 3 different languages to you.
It's always impressive.
Trilingual, English, French, and Spanish, Victor Plaz. Hailing from Montreal, Quebec. Count it 2-0 to Plaz. The toss from Coleman Goodwin inside. Potentially a check swing there from Plaz. Good enough from him and a good eye. Count moves to 3-0 with 2 outs.
We've been seeing a lot of inside pitches right on Plaz so far, so maybe that's what they're trying to get from him. Just get some soft contact, try and choke him up on the bat a smidge.
Probably has a green light here if he wants one. Will be well outside, though, from Coleman Goodwin, and another walk for the Majors side. Back-to-back walks. Or, excuse me, not back-to-back walks. 2 walks in 3 at-bats now for the Majors. Plaz reaches base for the second time this evening, and Brad Verhoeven steps back in.
And it's amazing just seeing the difference between the 2 pitchers that we've seen from the Red Sox so far. One has been very much a left-right focus. The other one has been a very up-down focus. And that comes down to, in this case, a lot from the positioning of where their arms are. So far we've been seeing a side armor, which completely changes the launch angle, which essentially switches from how you're trying to shape these balls, because a slider that might work one way for one pitcher is going to work a completely different way for the next. And it also keeps all these batters on their toes from inning to inning and from at-bat to at-bat.
Majors only 1 run earned against Coleman Goodwin. Stolen base attempt here from Victor Plaz. He is gonna get there in time. Stolen base at second for Victor Plaz.
Oh, and he knew that he had that one. He was confident. You could see him not trying to attempt to slide at all, just completely upright, just walks in. An incredible start, an incredible jump off from first for that one to get him over to second.
A player who can argue potentially player of the game for the Majors tonight, Brad Verhoeven. 2 walks and a double. Has reached base each time. 3 for 3. That one low and away. Count it 3-0 to him.
It's always a tough call to play at the games. We kind of all contribute through a little group chat that we have of who's going to actually be the player of the game. It's always a tough decision, and always what I dread towards the end of the ball game, towards the end of the night.
Another walk here.
Ooh, Verhoeven thought he had that one there.
He did think the way he reacted, he almost threw his bat over towards the dugout. The call will go to Coleman Goodwin, so 3-1.
Even us up in here, we were a little confused. We thought that was a walk as well.
Brad Verhoeven, still some work to do. Victor Plaz on second.
And it's always tough to play the game. Verhoeven's been great. It's hard to not doubt that Byron Reichstein 3-run home run to really give the Majors some momentum here as well.
Verhoeven take a clap at this one. It's going to carry back into an awkward area. Catch made in the end, though, by Marcus Castillo. And the Majors side is retired. Transitioning over to the 8th inning now when we come back. The Majors still lead by a score from 5-2 over the Brantford Red Sox. You're watching Majors TV with Ty White and Justin Koehler.
Get suited up with us for our big night. We went to Collins Clothiers. They had suits and tuxedos in various colors and styles. The staff helped us pick exactly what we wanted. They custom fit our suits for the perfect fit. They even matched us to our date's dress. It was so much fun trying on suits with the boys on the VIP night. They even got us pizza while we tried clothes on.
The prom kids, of course, are going to be the best dressed.
We felt so confident and looked amazing.
Things are winding down here in Labatt Memorial Park in London, Ontario. Officially fully dark outside. Some unfortunate news as the Canadian soccer team has fallen in penalties to Uruguay. Finished 4th at the Copa America. Nonetheless, a pretty big accomplishment for Canadian soccer. And we're looking forward now to the 2026 World Cup, which will be held partially in Canada, the team's next major tournament. London Majors lead by 3, 5-2 over the Red Sox. Jonathan Henry still on the mound.
Back on the mound, he's been impressive so far in this outing right now. He's only given up the one run off the one home run, but besides that, he's been pretty lights out across the board. 3 up, pretty much only 4 at-bats in each inning, giving up 1 hit in each and pretty much striking out, for the most part, pretty much everyone he's faced. And
a good job, 3 strikeouts so far.
I'm not going to make any comments about soft contact ever again.
Vaibhav Desai back up there now. He's 1 for 3 on the day with a walk, but is struck out twice. A toss from Henry. Fastball outside. A ball, 3-1.
And not too much time left for the Red Sox to try and get some runs on the board. What started off as a pretty long game with some long innings has really gotten shorter, really sped up as we've shifted to these relievers here going forward.
Jonathan Henry, this ball inside, completely working the plate all the way across, but not quite catching the strike zone there, so he will walk. They have Desai. Second time Desai has walked in this one. So with no outs, the Red Sox have a player on first, and this one isn't over. They still have a lot of time and nearly back to the top of the order if they can work things out. But Ethan Paulos will step back in. He singled out in his last time. Bunt attempt on there, but it was a bit too far outside. Not a favorable position, so he'll let it go by him for strike 1.
Again, that's one of those times that the Red Sox are trying to manufacture some runs here, try and get a bunt, get the runner over to second, get someone in scoring position to try and get something on the board to cut that deficit that they have right now, down 3 runs.
Called strike here for Henry. Count at 0-2 now. Looking for his 4th strikeout of his evening. Got a tiny piece of it. It looked like Ethan Paulos in the end just kept himself alive. Count remains.
You know, if Henry ended up kind of sticking one of his arms out to the side as he was sitting there on the mound, he might look a little bit kind of like Craig Kimbrell kind of a way in how he sits out there. The very relaxed stance kind of goes down to how he is as a person as well, too.
I definitely see that. Henry's toss is going to be chopped off. Play is definitely on here for Gibson Krasminski. Just flips it to first, smartly so, I might add. Records the easy out over to Caden Cardoso's way, and he will sit down Ethan Paulos. But unfortunately for the Majors now, only 1 out, and the top of the order is back up for the Red Sox with a player in scoring position.
That's indirectly what they were wanting. Initially trying to go for that sacrifice bunt, trying to get it over to first base. But just a very slow ball, not quite fast enough to try and induce a double play right there. And it looks like we might actually have a pinch runner coming in from the looks of it as well.
It definitely is a pinch runner. It appears to be number 21. Ricardo Alvarez de Lugo was announced over the loudspeaker, according to Dylan.
Dylan still being helpful for us in here, even though he's doing the announcing for the ballpark here, helping us out a little bit. What a nice guy.
He's got a lot of college and IBL experience. Played for the South Florida Beach Bums, Florida Memorial University, and played for Brantford last season as well.
So far in the season, he's actually had some pretty limited at-bats, DeLugo. And so far, he's only played in 8 games, 34 appearances, has 14 hits right now, 2 doubles, 1 triple, and 6 RBIs on the season right now. So pretty consistent, but not a lot of playing time right now. So now he gets his shot coming into pinch run.
Back to the top of the order here for the Red Sox, and it's Marcus Castillo. Henry's toss is well outside for ball 2. Count it 2-2. Castillo, rather a cold night, 0 for 4.
Yeah, still looking for his first hit in this one just to get something going and running out of time to do so. So he's hoping for a good at-bat right now in the top of the 8th.
This toss is absolutely smoked back to the parking lot. Let's hope you parked your car somewhere far away from that one.
Those are the ones that make me nervous because I'm parked right over in that side. But absolutely turned on that ball. What an immense show of power right on that one. Even though it went foul, it's impressive to watch and shows a lot of the potential from Castillo if he can keep it in play.
He keeps this one in play. It's going to roll directly to Ty Mosher. Tough throw to first. It's in time. Nice pick from Caden Cardoso and a good running effort just in the nick of time from Ty Mosher to sit down Marcus Castillo for the 5th time this evening.
That was a tough play, too. Incredible speed from Castillo coming out of the box right there. An incredible play to get the out as well. As you mentioned, great scoop from Cardoso. That's something they practice left, right, and center all the time. So great play for the Majors right there.
Good defensive effort. 2 outs for them in the top of the 8th. And here we go. Jonathan Henry getting ready to toss this one towards Roger Keane. Keane is going to float one directly into the glove of Ty Mosher. 2 fantastic back-to-back sequence plays from Ty Mosher help to retire the side. Red Sox sit down, and the Majors doing well. Still lead 5-2. Fantastic defensive play there. Ty Mosher, a great dive. Good positioning for him to reach his glove. And obviously the great play running forward from the shortstop. Getting the ball over to Cardoso just in time. Bit of a pick in the end. Wasn't the most terrific toss, but Cardoso made the play. And he's a fantastic fielder, so it wasn't too much of a problem for him.
Able to make it work. And one of the big things that this team is working on across the board is just their defense. One of the things Koehler and GM Ro Chanderdat really push for is the fundamentals in this game. That's something that's probably shared by a lot of the ball clubs in the IBL. Defense, defense, defense. You hear it in most sports as well. It's something that the Majors really pride themselves on with how good they are and how many stellar plays they make in every single game.
The third and perhaps final pitcher of the evening for the Red Sox, Gabe Bruder, checks back in. All pitching changes are presented by Throw, London's original knife throwing. Native of Beaufort, Ontario. He played some time in the WOSHL for the Plattsville Lakers in 2022-2023. So a dual sport athlete on the mound now.
And again, one of those players who don't have a ton of playing time right now. He's only pitched 8 2/3 innings, but in that time, he's given up 14 hits and 10 runs, all of them earned. So he has a bit of an inflated ERA of 10.38 right now, which is not exactly what you like to see. So they're hoping to turn things around right now, and this will be the chance for them to do it with the Majors potentially down to their last at-bat of the game here in the bottom of the 8th.
Hopefully for Ro Chanderdat's side, it will be their last set of at-bats. Brad Verhoeven, or excuse me, it's actually going to be Champ Gardner is going to be the one checking in. Champ Gardner had an RBI single, helped to score the first run of the game for the Majors, and Victor Plows at home. Other than that, he's had back-to-back strikeouts. The Majors trying to add onto their tally to make their defensive job that much easier.
And again, they're pretty much playing straight up on Champ. He's a very good contact hitter, able to put it where he wants, really move people around, especially on the infield. So he's hoping to just get it out there, set them up for more runs in this inning.
First one is a strike from Bruder. The second toss to Champ Gardner. Gardner takes a swing at this one's going to foul it off towards the Majors bullpen. He's down 0-2.
And so in his limited play time as well, Bruder's given 6 strikeouts out compared to 3 walks as well. So hoping to improve those numbers. Just try and get a bit more command in the zone and change the pitches around to try and get some more strikeouts.
Certainly looking for a quick inning here as this one is popped up high. Should be an easy catch in the end. Nick Burdett ends up coming down with that one, and Champ Gardner is retired. Flies out, moves him to potentially his last at-bat for the evening, and he goes 1 for 4.
And Gibby's hoping to keep things running right now. Currently 2 for 4 on the night. Some good numbers, some good consistency that we've seen from him across the board over the past few games. And we said it before, but he was hot coming in, and he's still keeping that hitting streak going right now as well.
Top of the order for the Majors, had an RBI double in his last at bat. As he jacks in to face Gabe Bruder. Bruder, a beautiful breaking ball. Looked almost like a slurve, a sliding curve, dropped nicely.
Yeah, had a nice amount of movement on there, that one. Great pitch to watch.
Really tall pitcher on the mound, Bruder. This one outside, count at 1-1.
Almost might be trying to change the sight lines a little bit. Work in the bottom of the zone. You'll often see a lot of relievers do that. You'll see kind of starters work a lot more up and down, and most relievers will try and induce a ground ball, try and get some soft contact, and work down in the zone a little bit.
This one is blown out to the left field stands. Another one that ends up in the parking lot area. Count at 1-2 now to Krasminski.
Again, my stress has increased another time now with another foul ball over on that side.
The 1-2, strike 3 called. Gibson Krasminski is struck out, and Gabe Bruder strikes out his first of the evening. Only one more to go for the Red Sox side.
You can see Gibby did not like that one, kind of froze in the box for a little bit, just in disbelief at that call. It was definitely a borderline pitch, could have gone either way. And the Majors at least have had the benefit of that a couple times so far tonight, but definitely didn't go in their direction for that one.
So Ty Mosher back up now. Thankfully for him, he did not go baseless this evening. Was hit by a pitch and walked to first in his last at bat. Other than that, hitting-wise, he's 0 for 3 tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to turn that around. As nice as it is to get on base, getting hit by pitch, I guess, you still want to get on with some good contact, a nice hit, improve those numbers.
He's going to foul this one off. He's down 0-2. We mentioned Gabe Bruder looking for a quick inning. He has the opportunity to get one here. Only one pitch to go, one strike to go for him.
Fairly efficient so far. His pitches have moved around quite a bit, just in terms of control and command, but still been efficient, still able to induce those outs.
Bruder forces a swing. Ty Mosher took a big hack at that one, and 2 strikeouts, back-to-back strikeouts for Gabe Bruder, retiring the London Majors. When we come back, the Majors trying to close things out. It looks like Victor Payano might get out there for the final time for the Majors. As of right now, they lead by 3. Don't go anywhere as we close things out, potentially when we come back. You're watching Majors TV with Ty White and Justin Koehler.
When you need a night out, Throw London is on point. With an atmosphere that's a cut above, Throw London brings together the best in knife throwing, axe throwing, and darts. So it's the perfect spot for a date night, night out with friends, leagues, and team building for the office. You've got to be 13 or older to throw pointy objects and 19 plus to enjoy their fully licensed offerings. It's the best spot in London for some fun with an edge. London's original knife throwing. Check them out at 2190 Dundas Street East and online at ithrow.ca. That's ITHROW.ca.
Welcome back, folks, inside Labatt Memorial Park. As always, John Denver's Country Roads playing throughout the loudspeakers here in this beautiful Cathedral to Baseball, the world's oldest baseball grounds. Back since 1877, Labatt Memorial Park. A lot of history is run through these walls, and the Majors have an opportunity to add on to that history tonight with a win over the Brantford Red Sox, currently leading by a score of 5-2. Still some work to do. Victor Payano out there on the mound now, relieving Jonathan Henry of his duties. Ended up with just less than 40 pitches on his outing. Payano has proved himself to be a really good and actually reliable starter for the Majors, and in this time has reached top 5 in a couple statistical pitching categories across the IBL. He's going to come into this game to try to save things for the Majors and keep their lead steady and by 3. Justin Koehler stepping out of the broadcast booth. He'll have potentially, if the Majors hold on to things, the player of the game interview with you after this one. And it's been a really fantastic one so far from London. Good job offensively as well as defensively. We saw that incredible hit, the 3-run homer from Byron Reichstein back in the 3rd inning of play to make it a 4-0 game. Victor Plaz scored one as well. We saw an RBI double from Gibson Kresminski. Really good performance from Brad Verhoeven in this one. 2 walks and a double to his name. And for once, actually, in his start, Travis Keys is perhaps not the story of the evening, considering he had bases loaded against 3 times. Capitalized only on once, though, by the Brantford side. Gus Wilson stepping back in, looking to change something here. Excuse me, actually, this is not going to be Wilson. It appears to be a pinch hitter. It's number 19, Evan Ryan, native of Brantford, Ontario. Ryan takes a hack at this one. He had a .337 average in 2022 for the junior team. Only appeared in 27 games last year with a .107 average. So still trying to improve his statistics in his IBL career. This one is going to be just foul to Victor Plaz. Counted 0-2 though. Victor Payano looking for his first strikeout. Crowd trying to heat things up here. As you can clearly hear now inside the ballpark, the music coming from outside. This one in there for a strike. Victor Payano sits down Evan Ryan. Majors only 2 outs to go in what would be their 2nd win in a row. Nick Burdett steps back in. He's had a bit of a rough day so far. Only walked once. It's been 0 for 3 since that walk. The fly out, a strikeout, and a ground out. This one is inside. Count at 1-0. Top of the 9th. The Majors have a chance to end things here shortly. It's been a fairly beautiful night, pretty calm night throughout Labatt Memorial Park. Clear skies, good weather as that one's in there for a strike. Count even at 1 apiece. It's Burdett, and it's a really hot one. As you mentioned, the water bottle count continues to rise. The 1-1 to Nick Burdett. Payano's toss is too low. That fastball moves the count to 2-1. Again, technically, this game's still not out of reach. Not an insurmountable margin here for the Red Sox at 3 runs down. Especially considering they're at a decent part of their order. Burdett followed by Villiers, one of the best hitters on the team. Burdett's going to chop one. He's going to make it past the feet of Gibson Kresminski. He's going to land himself on first base. And we're not quite done yet, folks. Only 1 out. And Nick Burdett reaches first with a single. 2nd time getting on base today. Count is officially at 14 water bottles here in the Game Day London press box. Across from the 2 broadcasters, the technical director and our producer. Payano still has some work to do, but a double play is in order for the Majors. A swing there. Gets past Jeremy Villiers. Count at 0-1. Villiers recorded a solo home run in his last at bat. His 25th hit of the season. Looking for number 26 and a clutch time for his Sox. This one gets past him again. Another good fastball from Victor Payano. Count at 0-2. As some charge chants are heard around the Bat Memorial Park, the heat has very much sucked out the energy from many folks around here. It's definitely been a long day and certainly a long ball game, as Justin alluded to. This heat has taken a toll on the players. Fastball upstairs. Count at 1-2. Nick Burdett on first. The 1-2 ball to Jeremy Villiers. The big hitter needs to come up at a big time, but it's not going to be so for him. Strike 3 called on the bottom outside corner. A perfect pitch from Victor Payano. Sits down his man. That's 2 strikeouts for Payano. And the Majors are 1 out away.
Now batting number 29, Lucas Bateman.
Lucas Bateman came in as a pinch runner. Brantford still has a player on first. Strike is called for Payano. Good fastball upstairs. Nick Burdett patiently waiting. Fortunately for the Red Sox, Burdett isn't the quickest member of their team. But at 2 outs, it really needs to be a good hit, solid contact, and in an area where no majors can be found. Fastball high upstairs, count even at 1 apiece. Payano still with some work to do. The big left hand of Victor Payano, looking to make things a lot easier for the Majors here. Looking for this save. Ball is swung on. It's going to be foul. Majors are a strike away. The 1-2 from Victor Payano. 2 outs for the Majors. The claps are heating up around the park. Nick Burdett at first. And Lucas Bateman patiently waiting for the pitch. Payano's toss. Strike 3 called. And that's the ball game, folks. Victor Payano with 3 strikeouts to end things for the London Majors. And a big win. 2 wins in a row now after last night's victory 6-2 over Guelph. Another good offensive performance. 5-2 win over the Brantford Red Sox. The Majors really needed that one. Great pitching performance and a great team effort across Travis Keys, Jonathan Henry, and Victor Payano, combining collectively for, I believe, 11 strikeouts on the evening. What a great team performance, great hitting as well. So make sure, folks, you don't go anywhere, because our very own Justin Koehler will be standing by with the Nuthers Award Store Player of the Game. And it appears it's going to be going to the home run man, number 22, Byron Reichstein. Justin is standing by. We'll send it to him now.
So I'm here with today's Player of the Game, Byron Reichstein. Byron, spectacular performance. Tell me what was going through your head during that 3-run bomb you hit early in the game.
I faced him the first at bat. I could see his fastball really good, and my second at bat. I just wanted to see when I was up in the zone and attack it.
And you'll have to see it clearly paid off, and it really gave the whole team a bunch of momentum going into the rest of the game too. Next question for you. You're definitely one of the veterans on the team. What's the main piece of advice that you give to a rookie who might be playing their first game or their first season? What's the number one thing that you go to say to them right off the get-go?
Play the game hard, play the game the right way. Baseball is a funny sport. It'll pay you back in the right ways if you play it hard.
Love to hear that. Great piece of advice right there. And spectacular performance today and across the season as well. So congrats again. Great job. And let's send it back up to Ty in the Game Day London press box to wrap it up.
Thanks so much for that, Justin. What a fantastic evening here at Labatt Memorial Park. A huge win from the London Majors. Before this homestand, they were 0-3, a 3-game losing streak. Now have the opportunity tomorrow as they roll into Hamilton and Bernie Arbor Memorial Stadium to get that third win to remedy their mistakes from their past losses. A fantastic outing tonight, and especially from Byron Reichstein. Hit that 3-run homer back in the third. Some great offensive performances from Brad Verhoeven. 11 total strikeouts as well across the Majors pitching side, all the way from Jonathan Henry to Victor Payano closing things out. Of course, Travis Keys got the game started for us, and it's been a great night. Really hot one nonetheless. Things are heating up with some music across from the Thames, but that's all for us here at London Majors TV. For Justin Koehler, I'm Ty White, and everyone here at Majors TV, thank you so much for tuning into this one. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.